phone. Okay, I guess I will do the intro because there is no Dennis here today. So welcome to Unclicked. We have Mike Rooftop Escamilla, John the Golden Pony Povah, and Nate. No, I can't think of anything. Williams.
Nathan.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for Mike to step in here. We talk about Povah all the time on the podcast. He always comes up in reference, and it's great to finally have him on. I forgot to do the plug for Dale's Pale Ale. They are sponsoring the podcast. It is a day podcast. I don't think anybody wants beer.
No.
Yeah. So we are, we're chilling on the beer today. So, but yeah, that is a horrible plug for sponsors.
Oh no, it was good. It was good.
It was good. All right.
Yeah,
then I'll stick with it.
Yeah.
Forget it. So yeah, thank you for coming down. And now I'll let Mike talk for a while because I'm dead ass tired.
Oh, you X Games this weekend, right?
Yeah, this whole week and a half. And
when'd you get back?
Last night. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
what'd you think of X Games this for the first time coming back? Did a pretty good job.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome overall. The commentator at times when he was bearded and looked like Rooftop, he wasn't very good.
I saw that guy, and I don't know why they wouldn't just use me. I saw that guy.
The other guy was cheaper.
But I think we're actually going to do like an X Games podcast. Like I think Kevin's going to come over and stuff. So
Kevin
Peraza, the guy that
awesome.
won a bunch of the stuff.
Oh, you're going to do an X Game? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, like an X Games specific one. Talk about little dirt, little drama, stuff like that, and probably is actually going to be out before this podcast, so we could stop talking about it.
Oh, perfect.
Now I think about it. So where would you like to start this podcast off?
I mean, I think like you said, Povah gets mentioned all the time.
He does.
And he's like this, I mean, everybody knows him, but maybe some of the younger kids don't really know who he is. But I feel like you've just been permanently in the background for the sport for 4 or 5 decades. 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s.
Yeah.
God, it is
25 different decades.
Yeah.
You've been doing the sport, which makes you old. Makes you old, man. Yeah. Which is nice for me because I'm not the oldest guy in the room anymore. But I met John in the early 90s. In the early 90s, I was 14 or 15 probably. We met at Twin Palms, and instantly we were you sort of befriended me, and I was a little kid. I would have been 15. You'd have been 20.
That sounds real creepy.
23 or you'd have been 22 or 23, but you befriended me. You were cool to me.
Yeah.
And over the next few years, even more creepy, you became kind of like I don't know what the right word, my steward, maybe would that be the right word? Over the next few years, because you drove me to a lot of events, sort of became you came and talked to my parents, and they let me take me to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
A lot of things that most people wouldn't have allowed a little kid to do, but you were sort of my guardian sort of a little bit in those 30 years. At least I felt that way. Maybe you didn't.
I wouldn't have trusted me.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't either now. But I want to jump back a little bit forward because you're English.
Yep.
And so you born in London, is that right?
Yeah.
And then you moved out near Oxford, North Lee, is that right?
North Lee, yeah.
North Lee, right? And that was like a town of like 50 homes, right? Real small.
It was weird just because I'm from central London. I was born in Wembley, by Wembley Stadium. And my dad moved around a lot. I had to keep changing schools. So when I moved out to North Lee, it was like culture shock because it was like this little rural farming village. And I was into bike riding, so it was a little difficult to do that.
And what other riders were you? Alex Leach was out there, is that right?
Yeah, Alex Leach, a guy called Ian Osborne. There was a lot of skateboarders and roller skaters that I rode with as well. And
I talked to Alex yesterday.
Cool.
And he was saying, I had asked him if you were like a known guy then. He said you were, but you didn't ever give off that vibe. Like you rode for Raleigh, is that right?
Yeah,
Raleigh. Actually, there's some photos here. We can put them up in the old here. If you put up Raleigh, there's a Raleigh one.
Yeah.
Not that one. Not that one.
Don't look at that one.
Don't look at that one.
Raleigh. Sorry about that.
And like here's some ones from like, can those pop up there? That's from Harrow back in 85.
Yep.
That's back in England, but there's some other ones that I wanted to ask you about. Is this a race team? What is this?
It's like I think.
Which one are you?
I have no clue. Oh, the yellow helmet.
Oh, okay. There you are.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was me and this other kid. Now, the guy next to the guy with a red helmet with a white helmet on, his name's Jason Lunn. He's like super amazing skateboarder now. And
oh, really?
Lives in Bali. He was an amazing BMXer too. But the head dude on the team was Andy Ruffle.
Oh, yeah.
He's famous English BMX racer, but he was also really good at freestyle. And like a lot of the Americans would come over and like he invented a lot of tricks that a lot of the Americans took back and kind of claimed.
Like what?
Nose picks, boobikas.
No way.
Yeah, backwards drop-ins.
Wait, I always thought Wilkerson.
Yeah, Wilkerson get credit for that, but
okay,
he may have,
Was that a time period too where it's
you
probably
didn't know who did what?
15 people
There's no
doing
way
the
to see it.
same.
No,
Yeah, you weren't seeing things come out.
There was a lot of things happening.
Send smoke signals up.
Yeah, it was just silent. Yeah, very funny. But there was
Morse code across.
There was things happening simultaneously, but nobody knew.
That happens a lot when tricks come out when they're supposed to come out. And
nowadays, it's on Instagram immediately.
Right?
Worldy.
Alex Leach said that there was you'd move to town and you guys would drive or you would ride like 4 or 5 miles to ride this and 13 miles to ride this.
Yeah.
And this is what?
South Sea Skate Park.
That bowl sucks.
Satan's Toilet.
Oh, is that off the extension?
Yeah.
Oh, wild.
Yeah.
That one's good because I zoom in, you can actually see it's Povah's face. I see little young Povah.
Yeah,
which is pretty nice.
That was a prototype frame that there was only one of, and it got stolen at a contest.
What kind of bike was that?
Look how long the back end. Like, look how far.
Yeah.
That is from that. Like the
wow.
Yeah. It's like a 15.5-inch rear end or something.
This is what year do you think this is?
And like an 18-inch top tube, probably.
This is 86. I have a later photo we'll show that's probably in the 2000s or 90s, and your tables are exactly the same.
Yeah,
they didn't get any better.
Bow and arrow.
So Alex was saying this was a quarter pipe in the middle of town?
Yeah, no, it was Raleigh, or Rally as we call it in England. Like we would tour and do shows, and that was our quarter pipe. But it was an event. There was an event going on called the Kellogg's. And somehow we got this show set up in the middle of one of the towns near where one of the events was. And we were doing shows with Blyther and Wilkerson. And
that's wild. And how old were you?
15.
And I would think back then, riding with Blyther and Wilkerson would be like,
oh, dude,
riding with Nathan and Garrett now.
Yeah, my idols. I mean,
right?
Yeah, like my idols. And it elevates your game. You ride better. And and those guys were the coolest. Like they were super nice to us. And
were you making money? Were you, not making money, but there's no money really to make.
No. We weren't getting paid, but everything was taken care of. Like we'd do shows and we didn't get paid for the shows, but.
Well, in England at that time, were there a lot of pros that were making it other than like Carlo Griggs and a few other guys?
I don't know if they were getting paid, but there was like Craig Campbell, Carlo, Neil Ruffle, Pepe Winder, Stephen Laidlaw, Mike Canning. There was a lot of really good riders, but I don't know if there was paychecks. But I just knew that they were touring.
Did America seem like a long ways away?
Yes, it seemed like everything we saw was sunshine and perfect photos in magazines and everything. We thought everything was a step above what we were doing.
Got it.
But as time went by, we realized there was a lot of the guys in the UK like Craig and Neil Ruffle and Mike Canning and Andy Brown, Lee Reynolds, and that were actually better than a lot of the people we were seeing in the magazines.
It seems like London would be the place to be. What caused the move out to Oxford? You were 17 maybe? 16, 17?
16 when I moved to Oxford, and then I moved to the States when I was 19.
Alex Leach, he sent me something that he described you.
Okay, good.
Which you can
I'm scared.
Photos.
I'm scared.
Those,
which ones?
The ones where just the ones that are not the ones that are not.
Just for the record here,
okay.
Rooftop loves surprising me with shit. He likes embarrassing me.
So here's what he wrote. He said, Povah.
Yeah, there he is.
The Povah that moved to Oxford in the mid 80s was usually seen wearing a Jimmy Z vest or a Megadeth t-shirt.
There you go.
There it is. He would happily cycle 4 miles into his local bowl in Coombe, a mud hole filled with the concrete built by a farmer in the 70s.
Yeah.
I never thought of you as cross-eyed before.
Or cycle 14 miles into Oxford for a street session. He already had an impressive history in BMX, but he never really flexed his full abilities. Riding was more about hanging out and talking BMX. But now and again, he'd fire out of something big, reminding us what he was capable of. Which is, that's pretty rad.
Yeah.
That you actually have photos wearing Megadeth shirts.
Jesus Christ.
Look at that. Look at that photo.
We've all done questionable.
He's clearly changed. He's wearing a Tool shirt right now. So
it is. I never know how much has changed. That's a motocross visor. That's not an actual visor, right?
No, they were. It was a thing back then, I guess. But they're visors you wear. It's not actually one from a helmet.
You sure?
It looks 100%.
Like it looks like it, bro.
It does look like it.
So it's a topless hat?
Yes. Yeah,
a topless hat. But how do you explain? Oh, so that shirt, that T-shirt, that's like a sleeveless T-shirt, right?
Yeah.
Well,
A
yeah.
topless hat.
Well, yeah.
That's
That would be,
those are legless-
isn't that literally what it's called? A sleeveless shirt?
I guess it is. I guess that's like calling pants legless shorts.
Yeah. Well, trousers.
No, it'd be legless pants.
You're right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Great analogies,
So
though.
yeah, good. So what?
Good attempt at taking me down.
Yeah. But topless hat does sound weird, right?
It does.
It does.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
yeah. I mean, what else? What are you going to call that?
A visor.
A visor.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
visor.
A visor would be something that would go on a helmet in my head.
Well,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
wear visors to the beach and they don't have helmets on.
Okay, I guess. Yeah.
You know,
Playing bocce ball and shit.
visors now like sweatpants.
Old people
visors.
stuff.
Yeah.
That wasn't. It was completely plastic.
What prompted you to think you could move to America?
Well, my sister lived here at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband and he got a job working for an aerospace company, and I'd visited on vacation or holiday every year during our summer vacation from school. After 3 years of coming, I was like, I just don't want to go back because BMX was dead at that point. And then being into an outdoor sport, I just wanted to be where I could do what I wanted to do
All the time.
all the time.
What year is this?
89.
89.
89.
89 when I moved. March.
So you say BMX is dead, like that's when like the industry fell out.
Yeah,
and-
there
and
wasn't
it
much going on.
yeah.
If you saw another BMXer, it was like a spectacle. Like,
Yeah.
We're boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And she lived where? Huntington Beach or Westminster or something?
Garden Grove.
Garden Grove, right? That's
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
And you just what? You just thought, screw it, I'll go.
I just got rid of everything I had. I left my bike in the UK and just brought my clothes, and that was it. And I moved out here and started fresh.
And so when you did that at the time, though, now it's hard to do that. But you,
Yeah.
I mean, you told me this once before. You came, your dad got you a bank account. Is that right? You called home. How did that work?
So,
Because you stayed here a long time without getting deported.
oh yeah. You can't do this now, but back then you could. I just came and stayed, and I wanted to. I needed to get a social security number. My sister knew that if I went to the social security office, I could just say that I wanted to open a bank account, and they would give you a social security number. And it said not valid for employment, but I went to downtown LA and got a new card made with the not valid for employment taken off, and it was a legit number. And it's
So they would just take it off for you?
well, yeah, they just give you a new card that had the number without the not valid
Without
for
that,
employment.
Oh.
But the numbers,
Wow.
she knew that in the system, all the numbers were just sequential. They weren't like it was good for employment, not good for employment. It was no differentiation. It was all on one. So I got that. So I was established. I could start. I went to, I think, Sears and bought a stereo and put it on layaway. So then my credit starts. Got my driver's license within a couple of weeks. So I was fully established within no time.
And how old are you? So you were
19.
19. Wow.
And
you sound very smart.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
I know.
I need to establish my
well,
credit.
because I needed to work. So I needed a social security number.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's basically how I had stayed.
That's great.
And I was out of status, as they call it. It wasn't illegal because I came in legally for 11 years, 12 years, till I got married and got a green card.
Okay. Yeah. So at that point, there was no laws that you had to go home or you couldn't be here.
You could stay for 6 months, but there was no one tracking you or anything. There wasn't.
And you were also paying taxes. And
Oh
doing
yeah.
everything. So
immediately, I paid.
you weren't on
taxes.
the radar.
Yeah, yeah. I started. And it's funny because like I got letters from the U.S. military asking me like, would I sign up to go to Iraq? Like, because they thought I was established.
Yeah.
Wild.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm like,
So you-
yeah, sure. I'll
So you
go.
never got hassled once.
No, never once.
So now you're in America. You used to be sponsored by Raleigh, but now you're in America and no one knows who you are.
Exactly.
How did you hook up with, I guess, the S&M crew?
No. The first person I ever met, there was some jumps not too far from my house in Garden Grove, and I met Sean McKinney there. He was the first bike rider I met, and he kind of took me under his wing and showed me around and introduced me to people. And he had his whole scene going because he was kind of in the flatland and met Ron McCoy and Ron Camaro and Derek O'Ree and all those guys. And then Jeff Carter, and they had like the AFA contest going on. They were like at the tail end of the AFA contests, and I entered a bunch of those and actually did pretty good. I won a few of them.
Oh, wild. And that was what, late 80s, early 90s?
Late 80s into 90s.
I have some photos of you from the 89. Alex Leach
let's
sent
talk
me.
about
Shit.
let's talk about perception of like how when you got here, because like you probably back home in England, you thought you'd probably never do well at a contest here in the
I did
California.
okay in the
But like I would assume that you thought California, like the riders are like
like I said, I thought, or we thought that everything else was on this just next level.
Yeah.
Because there's ramps everywhere, there's skate parks everywhere. It just wasn't the case.
Yeah.
You were just that good.
That was amazing.
What was your?
Have you ever seen these?
Uh,
That's you at Huntington High.
Nate, what was your question?
I just was going to ask what your perception of like Southern California was whenever you got here, coming from England. Like obviously England's very like
crap.
the weather's pretty crap. Yeah.
You know, England in the summertime was awesome.
Yeah.
Days are super long. Doesn't get dark till 10:30 at night. So it's summertime is amazing, but it just doesn't last that long. And then coming to Southern California, just had a whole different feel, different vibe. Like it was a lot of, you know, this, you get in a US car and it has this different smell and there's just a whole different aura about it. Everything was cooler and more laid back, and everything was way more affordable when I first moved here. And, you know, gas was 79 cents a gallon. And, you could ride in the back of a pickup truck and it was fun. It was free.
It must have felt like the land of the opportunity.
Oh, dude, totally. 100%. And it felt, you felt free. And that's what we saw in magazines. That was how we felt about BMX. Everything was more free there. It was more accepted. And being around BMX here in the US compared to some of the strictness in the UK, it was awesome.
Yeah.
How fast was that from the time you moved here to the time you found BMX friends?
A couple of months.
Yeah.
I would go ride Flatland or whatever in a shopping center parking lot. And I skateboarded a little bit still.
Let people stop looking at my desktop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see these photos?
No.
These are ones Alex Leet sent me from when a trip where he came over in '89, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is
That's pretty steezy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a nose. Is that a nose pick or nose wheelie? Nose wheelie. And that's at Huntington High.
Yeah.
And the Huntington High stage.
Yeah, I got a cover of Invert magazine doing a nose bonk thing on that same bench.
Oh, really?
That was your truck?
Yeah, that was my truck.
I think
it's sick.
Who's that in the passenger seat? Can you tell?
I can't tell.
I don't know if I can zoom. It looks like Jeff Z from here almost.
Looks like Stuart King.
Is it Jeff Z?
I have no idea.
Is that Brooke?
I have no clue.
Look at
Nap
that.
time.
I think that's
It's back in England, isn't it?
No.
Where's that?
It looks like Toki's ramp. His trainer.
As trainer, yeah.
Yep. Tire slide.
Tire slide.
Yeah.
Bullshit. You just couldn't clear his bunny hopping it and you just couldn't make it over the whole thing. And then you instantly though were in the magazines, right? This is was this in Go?
Wow, that's a 605 ditch right there, huh?
Yeah.
It looks like it.
But you had a double interview with you and Trainer right away.
Yeah.
Wait, how did you meet Trainer?
No, that was Oceanside High School. And he was kind of the same thing with you, where I just kind of took him under my wing, and he didn't have a car. He was broke, and
because he was from Jersey.
Yeah.
Is he younger than you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he is.
Like a couple of years, few years maybe.
So this is Rod?
No, this is Go.
No.
Invert?
Yeah, this is Go.
This is Go, right?
Oh, sorry. I see Brad, and I forget that Brad.
Is that any, I don't know.
Maybe it's Invert.
I don't
It's either
know.
Invert or Go.
I think it was Invert.
Invert or Go.
Invert.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bike riding used to have a lot of magazines.
Well, yeah. So,
You know,
but I just say I think of Brad, and I just instantly associate with Rod.
Oh,
so.
what? No way.
What's that?
What's that?
The paper, you actually turn pages and look at things.
Oh, no swiping.
No swiping.
Oh.
How do you like the photo?
You pin it on your wall.
you like it by cutting it out.
Yep.
So you weren't at this point. You were getting magazines. You were.
But Invert's still a UK magazine, so they're probably interested
They're
in.
still around.
Well, like at the time, like when he's doing this, so they're like, we want to interview with Povah because Povah's out there doing the dream.
Yeah,
he moved to the, like that type of thing.
Brad was before Go. He was doing some stuff for. It was Invert or whatever. Invert.
Yeah, because that's Invert. Invert turned into Ride UK.
Yeah. So he was doing stuff for them.
Yeah.
And then he eventually did Go.
Mm-hmm.
He worked for Go. So it was just my friendship with him was what got this.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then after this, you had a bunch of jobs, though, right? It wasn't like you all of a sudden came to America and you were like a pro hitting contests.
No. When I got here, I mean, I started a job immediately. Like my sister lined me up with a car dealership painting cars because that's my trade is auto restoration. Like I build and paint cars, and I never
back in England.
Yeah, and I never ever thought that I would. Bike riding was just something I did on the side just for fun, and I went to contests on weekends or did shows or whatever. But I always had a job. Like I never thought BMX would ever amount to anything. Yeah.
But you saw other guys making a living at it.
Right? Yeah, back then though, not really. Yeah. Right? Back then, it wasn't. People weren't making a living, but they were doing it. Maybe.
Yeah, they were doing it and just being broke.
Being broke with a house full of dudes.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, when I met you,
so Trainer wasn't a full-time pro at that point.
No, I mean he was lesser known than me at the time.
Oh wow, okay.
But we started going to contests together, and he built relationships with people, and I mean he made his mark because
he was a handsome guy. Who wouldn't want him on his team?
Dude, Trainer was talented.
Trainer's a man.
Dude,
yeah, he's still involved with BMX too. For the people out there, works at Source and handles the Nashville warehouse and operations there, which is sick.
He's personally been to hell and back.
Louisville, sorry.
Yeah, he has.
I wish it was Nashville.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at you. Nashville.
Me and Povah know Trainer well. You know, like Trainer lived at my house for a while. I had a long history. He helped me in a lot of ways. We helped each other. What he had said is I met the Povahnator because that's what we used to call Povah because he was so fucking buff. He's
a good looking dude.
You saw the muscle shirt.
Who's older? Who's older? Brad Pitt or you? Which one came first?
Brad Pitt.
All right.
So I'm better looking.
Yeah, he is. So he said I met the Povahnator in '89 when I first moved to California. BMX was pretty dead at the time and skate parks were extinct. We would ride a lame flyout jump every day for hours. It was across the street from GT.
Yeah,
right.
That's Ocean View High School.
Ocean View. There's some photos of riding.
It's gone now.
We'd ride curb parking lots and anything other obstacle we could find. It was such fun and simple times. It's in these ones somewhere.
Don't look, Povah. You look to the right.
Yeah, there's there we go, right somewhere.
I didn't see it.
Oh, maybe
see Povah's looking again.
What are the other? What's in old?
Schwinn. Those are all the early HBs. We went through all those.
You need to send these to me because I've never seen a ton.
Yeah,
of these.
Schwinn.
Maybe it's early HB.
No, that was the ones we went through.
No, go back. It was a jump one. It's an old jump setup. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, okay.
That hair. It's like flock of seagulls.
Yeah.
Like the
let me open these up.
Seagulls. Well, I like that you're doing a decade air, but I like that it's like a sequence and you can see how you were jumping it. 1 foot on the top, 2 foot on the back.
He looks like a catalog.
Look at him. That's 89. Like.
This jump was a famous jump too. It was right across the street from GT.
Yep.
What was it called?
Ocean View High.
Ocean View High. Yeah.
Yep.
And you could see what like old videos with like Ultimate Weekend.
That table's pretty good out of the step up jump.
That's opposite.
This was like
Oppo.
Yep.
This
is a decade.
Well, it's a boomerang or decade or boomerang. Now it would be called the double downside whip.
Look at that seat post.
It's not a double downside whip. 360 downside whip.
That's right.
Anything.
This is the last time you saw Povah smile.
That's not fair.
Curly pulled. That's sick though. I mean, that's awesome.
This is the 80s, man. It's early 90s, 80s. This is a long time ago. Look at how he takes off.
Oh, you're doing a step up. Wow.
Yeah,
so you go off the lip with your foot on the seat post.
Yeah.
It's basically a rolling decade, but just out of a jump. Yeah. Wow. That's nuts.
That needs to be the next.
That's the trick challenge. You got footage of this?
Contest.
Who had cameras back then?
Rocking one-piece cranks.
It wasn't like anyone had a cell phone to film it. Oh, one piece, man. What you do?
Yeah, that's crazy. So you're on a power light?
No, that was an Elf. I rode for Elf for a little bit, just free bikes. Because Bill Ryan, who owns Supercross BMX now, I lived with him for a little bit, and he lined a bunch of stuff up. Like he had a pad company called Tech, and he owned a bike shop called Power Plus, and that's what's the sticker on the frame.
And who shot these photos?
I don't know who shot these. This is back.
I have no idea.
Would have been like
cute I looked at.
You did. You're looking like Matt Damon or something like that.
So this has got to be early
a shower Povah with compliments.
Yeah.
180 out of a pickup truck.
It's like a 270 dropping or whatever.
Oh, okay. I see. Starting there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I feel like you're not going to make it.
It's a fakie.
Yeah, that's a 90. That's a 90 drop in.
Exactly.
So in between 90 and maybe like 92, 93, you getting stuff from Elf. You were. Where did your involvement with all the S&M POW crew come in?
Well, I guess Twin Palms, Sheep Hills at the time, because it's been around long enough. I would go to all these places and just make friends, same as anybody. I lived with Moeller and John Paul Rogers for a bit in the early 90s.
What was that like?
Yeah. Was it calm?
Insane.
Was it calm?
No,
It was very calm.
It was pretty nuts.
It's nothing really worth talking about.
No.
Well, I just feel like those guys are such characters now. Like Chris has tons of stories. JP can tell the same stories.
Yeah.
But living with them when they were making those stories
I know.
seems insane.
Oh, yeah. But at the time, it's like, I didn't realize that those stories would now become kind of legendary, you know, like, but it's, you're in the moment. It's like you go to a contest, you see a dude do something, and now it becomes
doable.
Folklore in
doable.
a sense,
Folklore. Yeah. But at the time, you're like, oh, cool, he did an Abubacar on a rock.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Is it, like, how long did that span go with Moeller and JB?
I think we lived together for about a year. They got sick of my girlfriend.
Oh, wait, is that the coupon cunt?
Well,
Jesus.
probably.
Oh,
Got
what?
No.
Everyone called her that, okay?
No. They
It's a different time period.
John Paul, and they called her a bitch girl.
See, it's like you act like I'm a bad person. Yeah.
And in hindsight, they wasn't wrong.
I mean, that's what everyone called her, correct?
I don't know.
You got? Is there any
behind my back?
According to everyone I talked to.
Yeah. Behind my back.
So how many months did you live with him?
About a year.
Oh,
a year and a half.
A year.
Yeah.
What,
there was one time I wasn't around for this, but the girl I was with at the time, she was like, yeah, Moeller came home one day and he was just wasted and just projectile vomited in the living room and refused to clean it up.
Who did he expect to clean it up?
I know. Her.
I'm not cleaning this.
Did she live there with you?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys all
No.
lived together. That's funny.
Yeah. They hated her.
Yeah, everyone did.
Yeah.
And so
the coupon. They're talking about the coupon girl.
Yeah.
What made her so bad?
I mean, I was like 11, so I don't know, but I just remember that's what they all called her. Called her.
Bleep that out.
Yeah.
That was for that trainer reminded me.
Hold on. No.
Trainer reminded me of that. So, but in the early 90s, so now you're living with Moeller, you're doing that, but there's a gap between 90 and probably 92 when the Hoffman contest, 91, 92 when the Hoffman started, and then really 95 when the X Games started.
Yeah.
So you weren't painting cars anymore, or were you? Because you were also doing bike shows, right? Because you got me doing bike shows with Danny Hubbard.
Yes.
So you were doing that.
Yeah,
we traveled around doing that.
Yeah.
You were
Shout out to Dan Hubbard.
Yeah,
still does shows,
and he's allowed a lot of bike riders to be able to pursue their dreams for letting them do shows for a lot of years, man.
Amazing.
And he's like the full-time Supercross announcer.
He's the on like the live action voice of Supercross.
Yeah,
he's
insane.
up there with Povah as in Decent Humans.
Oh yeah,
like Notch One.
Notch One.
No.
Me.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Calm down.
So
I'm at the top.
Yeah. I'm great.
We were doing
I'm tired.
We were doing shows for vans, and we would do those like custom car shows, school shows, and whatever came along at the time with Dan. And my job, like painting cars, they were cool. They let me go and do this stuff. So, but at some point, I got offered a job building ramps. So I was like,
for who?
Spawn Ranch.
But that was later.
It was
in 94 because it would have been for the X Games because you got me a job building ramps, remember?
Yeah, it was before X Games.
Yeah.
First X Games.
I forgot that. I worked for Spawn Ranch too. You got me a job.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, for a very short-lived.
I got a lot of friends' jobs there, and they all sucked.
How was Rooftop?
He was okay.
I only worked there for a couple months because I was like, it was dangerous.
He's not listening.
No, it was a dangerous place to work. There was one guy who I was a welder. I welded all the flat bottoms and decks. For
Mike's a really good welder, by the way. He needs a job.
Yeah, I need a job. He got me a job as a welder, and I just got out of high school.
Yeah.
But the dude next to me seemed like accident prone dude, and I was just like. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Mark Bradford.
And I was
he vividly remembers.
Oh, yeah.
He was dangerous
to this day.
Yeah, he was dangerous. And like I remember being like, I'm gonna get hit in the head with a flying piece of metal. And I remember it was a time when I was just making a little bit of money. My parents was the first time my only parents ever said, like, you maybe need to get a job. And I was 17 and I worked there for maybe a month or two.
Yeah.
And I made $17 an hour, but we're working 6-day weeks.
Oh yeah.
And I come blow a bunch of black stuff out of my nose.
Oh yeah.
At the end of that, I was making money because that time was like 1995.
$17,
maybe.
yeah, 1995.
It might have been, And so I was like, it's either do this or I try to ride bikes.
Yeah.
And so I chose the latter. But in between
Good
there,
call.
Thankfully.
what is that?
Good call.
Thank God. Yeah.
Yeah.
In between there, though, we met, and you, like I said, you'd sort of become my sort of guardian, sort of a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, like my parents saw you as like, not, you know, if trainer and climber or somebody came to pick me up, Povah was the one. They were like, "You're watch my kid."
Yeah, you're the one. The English accent really probably makes him seem more responsible than he is.
I sound smart.
Yeah. But we all early. This would have been 1993, summer '93. I'd have been 15, or maybe I just turned 16. I think a month earlier. We all drove 7 or 8 of us in a minivan to Oklahoma.
Yep.
All bikes inside the car.
Oh yeah.
So like that's how. And so
how far is that drive for the people?
It's about
I don't know.
1,800 miles, 2,000 miles.
35 hours.
Yeah, no, it's like 24 hours.
24 hours. Yeah.
24.
But like, but we just pin it the whole way.
Yeah.
No, we didn't have any money for hotels. When we got there, we stayed on the Hoffman ramps and under the ramps for 2 weeks.
Yep.
We just slept under the ramps.
We showed up in the
2
middle of the night and like we saw the silhouette of the big quarter pipe.
Yeah, it was nuts,
dude.
Because no one had seen it
the
yet.
gate's locked and we can't get in there, but we're looking at the silhouette of this.
So we probably all
huge.
slept in the car on the floor.
Yeah.
And then we slept in the ramps and under the ramps with like scorpions and
hold on. So so 8 people.
Yeah, 7 or 8 people.
7 or 8 people, 8 bikes.
It was like
so you're taking apart the bikes. I hope.
Front wheel, maybe. So the bikes were piled in the back behind the back seat of the minivan.
Yeah.
And there was like bags on top of that. And there was one point I'm just laying on top of it like this close to the ceiling for like 8 hours.
Dude, kids don't even know these days. They're spoiled.
Yeah. And it was like me. It was
we've had similar stories, but not that.
Not quite.
Yeah, not that. Not, like there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like, hey, this sucks right now, but we're staying at our friend's house. They slept under ramps for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And I'm 50, like I said, I'm 16. Trainer was there. Akabach, Axel, right? It's this guy from Germany.
Jurgens?
Yeah.
And no, not Axel. Different Axel. Remember?
Different Axel. Yeah.
I don't know who else was in that van. Big Island.
Big. Yeah.
And so it was a couple other people. So it was
that's where you got your nickname.
That's what I was gonna say.
And then I remember one night we got a hotel.
Yeah.
We got a hotel one night, and I remember I'm laying on the floor because I sleep on the floor, and James Shepard is in the room. He's drunk. And he gets up and he walks over to the dresser in the middle of the night. I hear him get up. I'm on the floor next to him. He opens the drawer to the dresser, pees in it, closes the dresser, and then goes back to sleep.
Nice.
But a 16-year-old, I'm like,
Classic.
what is happening?
Classic move.
It's classic drawer.
But yeah, it was
when you're blackout, that drawer just seems like a toilet.
Seems like it.
You're like, I did the most.
You know Brandon, right? My buddy Brandon
Lillard.
Brandon Lillard. He was in Fiji, and he woke up and his buddy goes, Brandon, I just want to apologize right now. He's like, what? He's like, well, last night, because you remember back in the day, computers used to be white. And so in the middle of the night, the other guy walked over, opened the computer, thinking it was a toilet lid, peed in his computer, and closed it.
I knew it was coming. It was still really funny.
Pretty funny.
Okay, so I want to rewind because I want some more context. What did you think of Rooftop when you first met him?
He's an annoying little kid.
Yeah.
But he was awesome.
Yeah.
Wanted to ride all the time, which I just want to be around people who rode bikes. So
can you let the Wookiee out?
In my defense, I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I know,
we're all
anybody who's
kids.
8 years younger than you is annoying.
I understand that.
Yeah.
So when you said that's where he got his nickname from.
Oh, you've never heard this story?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. Dude.
Well, I've heard a story, but I don't know if it's true.
So it kind of
I'd never. Let me set myself up real quick.
Okay.
I'd never been anywhere before. Never been on state. I'd never seen any other bike ride. I'm excited. Like any 15-year-old kid, I'm with my people I look up to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm getting to go. And at the time, I had a whole Matt Hoffman wall. Right in my room. So I'm going to stay at Matt Hoffman's house.
You're going to Mecca.
As far as I'm concerned, really his house was the ramps at a warehouse in a field. But okay, go on.
So he just won't shut up. So
much like now.
Well,
that's what makes you a good podcast co-host.
I don't remember the whole story, but at some point they were like, "We're going to put you on the roof of the van," and because you're annoying.
What would he talk about?
Just anything.
Nothing.
Everything.
You would just like my kid who asked a question every 35 seconds.
Yeah. Just you talk to talk. It's like,
I did get to witness that a little bit. Yeah.
Like it's like you want to hear your own voice or something.
But everything is new to me. You know what I mean? Like everything you're looking out the window, everything that's happening. Never going to cross state lines. I've never been on a road trip.
Yeah.
I've never done any of that stuff. And this was like,
You just wanted to tell them 80 times.
Yeah. But
so they wanted to put you on the
roof of the car.
Yeah.
But what they would do is they would just like, I'd be in the back and they'd just be like, they'd start like almost chanting rooftop. And I was like, I didn't know like cry or be happy. Cause you know what I mean? Cause I didn't know if I was like, sweet, I'm one of the guys or like, they hate me.
When did you start liking? So you hated the name?
I didn't know. I didn't ever hate it. Cause I didn't know that story for a long time.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, I'm not exactly sure who did it. It was like that whole week. It didn't happen on the drive. It happened during the week, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like, it could have been Moeller and Trainer and Miron. They all sort of are part of.
When they like, so you go to the.
Oh, Ian Morris was in the van too.
Was he?
Ian Morris, I think, was in the
going to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I
think so.
Yeah. So did it like stick it? Did it? I've always heard the rooftop story, but never heard when it stuck. Like, did they start calling it? Was it all week, or was it like did a photo run in the magazine where you finally they put rooftop in there, and then that's what happened?
I don't really remember, but the thing was, magazines didn't come out very often.
Yeah.
Right. And so only people who knew about me were if you were at the contest, and even then I rode amateur. And I remember I beat Pat Miller. I was like psyched. I got 15th or 17th, and he got a couple. So I was all pumped. But I rode amateur, so no one knew who I was until a year later when I got a photo I came out that I'd shot a couple months after that. 360 in the roof gap.
The roof, yeah.
And so everyone thought that the rooftop was because of the roof gap, but that was just by chance.
Cool.
And so it just started. I remember at some point, I did a photo shoot for Plus where Volker's like airing over me. Over the hip at Marina Valley. He's like tabletop over fakie tabletop. Huge. Yeah. And I'm going under him, fakie 90 tabletop on the hip. And I remember the caption said, Dave Volker going over a soon to be famous rooftop. And that's the first time I can remember that there was a caption of it.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. So under the ramps, 2 weeks. You're at Hoffman's house for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Were you guys under the quarter pipe? Like
no, under the hip.
The hip.
Under the hip.
And is there footage of this? Because I know this is like the CFB
bike park, Hoffman Bike Park or something.
Was that at Hoffman's house?
No, it was at the church. It was at the church warehouse where he had a famous ramp, indoor ramp.
Yeah.
It was outside that indoor ramp.
95 BS contest right here. The internet provides.
Yeah, that's in where the ramp was.
This is it, right? Before I.
Yeah,
that's it.
Okay,
so
I'm going to turn that.
We lived under right here. Well, this was a couple years later. But same ramps.
Yep.
There's a hip back.
You said
there.
95. This says 95.
Oh, maybe they didn't. I didn't realize they had that painted it. Yeah. This is 95. We were there in 93.
Oh, 93. Let's see if we can find 93 just for the shit. Just for the shit.
That was a true look back, huh, Povah?
Yeah, it was. You guys with your opposite air bullshit.
Normal air. Opposite turn down.
Dude, I can't. You guys, knock it off. You guys aren't doing look backs. You're doing turnbacks.
Turnbacks. Is that what you call them?
Yeah, because it's just a turn down. You're doing an opposite air.
Right.
But
I send legit once to Gary all the time. He's like, I just don't know how you guys do that. Like, it doesn't
would you
make
guys
sense.
switch your feet?
No.
So then your feet go.
No.
You turn your front foot.
You just turn into your front foot.
And your cranks go kind of up and down.
Or your foot would come off.
Your front foot floats a little bit.
A little bit. Like you see Dino DeLuca do it on crank ones.
Yeah, photos of
he had a coaster brake.
Oh,
but Jay's, if you look at Jay's, his foot floats.
It didn't start doing that opposite look back. And I don't know if I have this right, but I want to credit it to Bestwick maybe. All of a sudden he was doing like opposite air. People started doing opposite air look backs on vert. And people were freaking out like, oh, opposite air look back.
I'm not sure.
But it just made sense, right? Because he was doing
normal turn.
Then that started becoming
this is the
this is the year. But I can't really find. So we'll go back to 95.
Yeah, it's the same ramps.
This was being there, witnessing that was you knew something.
We got to climb up the back of that thing.
Yeah.
On top. It's pretty sick.
All right. Well, we'll go back to the 95 footage.
I got to coping on that thing. It scared the shit out.
I was going to ask if anyone else rode it.
Yeah, we get pedal at it. You weren't.
Yeah.
Peg it. I mean, peg a foot peg it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But like contests were very different back then. Look at everyone's on the decks. Everyone's everywhere. The excitement in contests was. Well, it was it wasn't like the riding was better or things were better. It was just different.
Yeah.
Like, was it more relaxed feeling? Because it's not.
It was relaxed, but
sense.
Everyone, you never saw anybody, right? So you'd see these people a couple times a year, maybe.
Yeah.
And your heart was jumping out of your chest because people were just pedaling full speed at everything. And you didn't know what anyone was going to do. That was the hip right there.
Yeah.
Like
the one.
It's the big hip into the mini ramp.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it was just different.
And there's no money.
Right
You're seeing all your friends you haven't seen for a long time. It was, it was essentially everyone there you knew. It was everybody in the sport. It was no outsiders. It was just kind of a reunion, and everyone was just
there he is
trying to impress.
That hip, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there had to be this era of like you had no idea what was going to happen next because you didn't get to see everything that everybody had been working on, and so you saw 70 new tricks that you didn't know were actually possible that you've been thinking of and thought was possible.
Yeah, this is the era of like the gladiators. Like, this is what you would consider gladiators on bikes.
Yeah.
Back then, was there like rumors of like, oh, someone's doing this trick, or like, and then you go to a contest.
There was rumors, but you also like from what would you hear that rumor on?
Right.
Yeah. Your buddy.
You didn't have phone. There was no cell phones.
Yeah.
There's no internet.
Yeah.
Akeem.
You know,
look at
hear
Akeem
something.
in
Maybe
there.
if someone saw it,
right,
and
like,
came to your town, you know,
like the first time we saw that,
I was sick.
Yeah,
the big quarter pipe. You know, we saw it in a Hoffman ad, and everyone thought it was fake. Fake for sure.
Yeah,
like, there's no way. And then people are like, no, it's real, and you're like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
And then you get there and you see the silhouette of this thing, and you're like, Jesus, like it just didn't seem real. It was 10-foot vert ramp. 21 foot tall.
Yeah.
You're like,
and if you looked at the back of it, you're like, holy shit, dude.
This thing's falling down
right now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've, I don't know if you ever heard the story on how he got the wood for that ramp.
No.
Was it all wood? I guess back
wood.
then it wouldn't be scaffolding or anything.
No, it was
like
all
that.
wood.
Like,
And I may have this wrong. I'd have to listen to it again.
Is this 93 right here?
But,
or is this is from
This,
this is probably a collection
this
of
is all
footage.
collection. This is all Mad Matter. Someone in like Kansas City worked at like a wood yard, and Matt went and traded a Hoffman frame, and the dude let him just pull up with a truck and take all the wood.
I heard that. But if you saw how it was built,
it was scary climbing up the back.
Yeah. There was nails sticking out everywhere.
It was nuts. It was nuts.
It was a piece of shit.
It was nuts. This is the new one.
But I think I thought they had nah.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, Matt is straight up the biggest gangster.
Yeah.
Like, and also at the same place later on they built later on they built that 18-foot half pipe too, where he rode with the motorbike, put a motor on his bike.
Yeah.
He lost his split on.
Oh, here you go. Here's some.
Yeah. So here's the one with the motorbike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know that thing must have been?
Oh, I've seen it. Oh, I've seen it.
The bike is terrible.
And it's super off-weighted. Like it's super,
like weight on one side.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's the indoor ramp that
Was that at the same place?
Yeah. That's inside that building that the painting's on the outside.
Yeah.
And I'm like that's one of the things I'm so glad that I got to drop in on and see. You know
I rode that with Miron.
The indoor ramp. That year there was a session indoor ramp.
Yeah.
That first year, and it was like no one had heard of John Parker was new. Yeah. Like he was like, and so he came in and he was doing because he did flares that year.
Yeah.
And like he was doing no footed fives and like big stuff. So it was like we saw a session down that ramp with Mira, Hoffman, McCoy, Miron, Parker, like the 5 heaviest dudes ever on vert. We just saw a session.
Yeah. You know what I never realized on this thing? It just had like a graphic that said mega ramp on it, and I didn't never realize that like Hoffman coined the term mega ramp.
Are you sure?
It says mega ramp. Like this is like a MTV Sports, and like, it had to be way before X Games.
Yeah, it is way.
Like so. I never knew that Hoffman like coined the term.
Yeah.
Either. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
So
you think he had to have had?
I mean, if they were calling it mega ramp back then, and coincidentally, the birth of Big Air is definitely Hoffman, so it's like
those guys, the Oklahoma guys were always,
and I mean, Danny,
the kings for coming up with stupid names for stuff.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
That motor, dude.
So yeah, I mean, Danny was inspired by this.
Yeah.
There's interviews with Danny Way talking about how it was this ramp mixed with my helicopter flip that inspired this putting the two together.
Yeah.
To make look at that.
That
look at
looks
that.
so fake. It was definitely like some like fast. It was like slightly fast Super 8 footage or something. But geez,
you think that he did 22 feet on this ramp, didn't he? Did 20-something feet
with the motor?
Oh, was that the motor?
No,
with the regular one. He
rode
but that ramp was 21.
Did he? Did he ride the big quarter with the motor? Okay, all right. Well, I think they keep cutting between, and we're not listening to the audio, so it's a little bit hard.
Yeah, Matt's a wild man.
Yeah,
he's a wild man.
So 2 weeks under the ramp.
Back to me.
Yeah, back to Povah. 2 weeks.
We have so much to talk about. I was starting early because I wanted to get through it to get to the important stuff.
Yeah.
The important stuff.
Yeah, not your history and all your crap.
Is there anything we're talking about 2 weeks under the ramps and like is it the first time you met Miron? Like when was it?
I think the first or second night I was in a tent, I think, with somebody, and there was just fucking drunk people just falling on the tent, and you're trying to sleep. It was miserable.
I wasn't afforded a tent.
Miserable.
It was
man on the totem pole.
Too.
Yeah. You're melting.
Yeah. Yeah.
No showers for weeks. It was
At some point, we
disgusting.
came out from under the ramps because there was like massive spiders and animals.
Yeah.
So we'd sleep on the flat bottom of the vert ramp, and you'd wake up at like 6 a.m. to like 109 degree sun in your
Sounds like
eyeballs.
a
Oh my
swamp
God.
dust last bit
Humid,
too.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
humid
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And what was the ride back like?
We broke down. We ran out of gas well, first of all, let's back up. At some point, somebody drove the car into a ditch.
You remember this shit better than I.
So someone drove the car into a ditch, and so we had to put the spare on. It was a little donut, right? It was a little donut. And so then you're only supposed to drive 50 miles on those things.
Yeah.
We drove like 1,800. And then ran out of gas somewhere in the California desert.
Yeah.
And then, you know who else was in the van? Mad John was in there.
Oh yeah.
So we ran out of the gas on the freeway. I don't know how that happens. And so then Mad John had to ride his bike on the freeway like 18 miles or something to the next gas, buy a gas tank, and ride it all the way back to put it in the car. We sat there for like 5 hours. So that's how we got home.
We just sent in an Englishman who rides and drives on the other side of the road down the freeway.
And he said every time a big rig would pass him, he would just come to a dead stop from the wind hitting him. Like,
Yeah.
But this was a normal thing. Me and John also drove to Florida for the 95 BS finals. Me, Jason Davies.
Jason Davies.
And
RIP.
RIP. And John,
I forgot
and we
these.
drove all the way to Florida for the contest.
Yeah.
And we would just do it straight through, like
Yeah.
no stopping, no sleeping.
Remember we got
just
lost
switch
in
drivers.
Louisiana?
I don't remember that.
We were coming back and there was a detour and we would play around. I think you were.
Oh, wait, it was on the way back?
Yeah.
I wasn't with you. I went with the Hoffman guys
Oh,
to go
did
see
you?
Fugazi in Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, we got lost in Louisiana. Me and Jason Davies.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. In the middle,
And
like, it was a freeway detour, and we got off the freeway, and like we didn't want to stop because we didn't know anybody. All we could think of was like, what's the movie?
Texas Chainsaw
Oh,
Massacre.
Yeah, just some shit like that.
Yeah.
Deliverance.
Deliverance. Yeah, that's all we could think of was Deliverance. So we're like, we're not stopping. We just keep driving. We finally found like a gas station and got directions.
Yeah, it's the concept of being lost.
Oh,
You
back
know,
then,
like-
no, too. There was no,
Back then, yeah.
but there was no,
sure.
there's no
Yeah,
way that
you
if
just
you didn't have a
can't
map, and even
Yeah.
if you did have a map, you're like,
A
I don't
roadmap.
know what this
Yeah,
is.
a
Did you have a
detour.
roadmap?
Yeah.
You think?
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
it was a
Thomas Guide, probably.
Thomas Guide or what was it?
Oh, Atlas.
Atlas.
Yeah.
But some of these roads weren't even on that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's wild to think that. It's wild that you think that like even Domino's back then in 30 minutes would take your number and your address, and then they would drive around with a piece of paper and find your house in 30 minutes.
It's pretty
It's
incredible.
wild.
Yeah. Until they ran a red light and they got sued.
The crazy thing about the
That's
contest
what ended it. They were like,
is-
they couldn't deliver. They can't say within that time because the driver ran a
really?
light. Yeah.
in John's time of going to contests, it cost more to get to the contest than you could possibly win if you got first place.
Mm.
What first place was $400, and it probably cost us $1,000 to get there.
Oh yeah.
It's the dumbest business model ever.
It's just because you love it, right? Like,
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's why you do it.
But that contest in 1995 in the end of Florida brings us to the X Games, really.
Yeah.
So earlier that year was the X Games. So the 96 was a whole new deal, which pretty much changed your life, right? You started going on Warped Tour and doing things like that. But shortly after that, you got offered the Schwinn gig.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So I was building the ramps for X Games and all the B3s or whatever they're called. And obviously I was friends with a lot of the pro riders from going to contests and from building the ramps. So I kind of befriended Miron. And thanks to Miron and John Paul, they threw my name in the hat for a TM job with the freestyle team. John Paul was taking care of the race guys like BF and Allen and Buggy Gibbons and all those, Paul Camp. And then also he was taking care of the XS team, which was like dirt jumpers.
The XS is like a parts
It was
company.
a parts company. It was a really good parts company. Shame it went away. But so he took care of like McMurray and Jimmy Levan and Sandy Carson and I think Griffin and people like that. And I was taking care of I was like essentially the freestyle team manager and tour manager. So I took care of all, booking travel and dealing with accounts and taking care of all the equipment I stored and managed all the vehicles and built a bunch of the ramps
And that, I mean, you also were on tour 6 months out of the year doing shows, right?
Yeah.
Like GT air show style things,
Yeah.
Schwinn ones. Okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Um,
And we were going to contests too. Like, so we would have the B3 contests or BS contests, whatever you call them, and X Games, and then later on Gravity Games. And then usually we would try and book tour kind of around where the contests were going to be or en route to or from, and hopefully nobody got hurt at the events.
You said you drove like 110,000 miles.
Yeah, one year we got dually. We did I think an 18-month period. I put 110,000 miles on a brand new dually.
Wow. Yeah. When so X Games has already happened at that point.
Yeah,
and you were building ramps. Like, did X Games like really? Did you feel at the time that X Games changed the trajectory of BMX?
It brought so much notoriety to all the sport. I mean, the first one was dumb. It had like bungee jumping and
rock climbing and shit.
Yeah, I mean,
luge,
just weird shit. Yeah. But it definitely elevated the visibility. Like, people had never seen BMX or skateboarding before. Now it's kind of, in Slim Jim commercials, and you start seeing it in more places.
Mm-hmm. I would think that your Schwinn job only came up because of the X Games, because there's televised events.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, like a brand like Schwinn, like they can sell a $10,000 road bike. They have a hard time selling $200 BMX bikes. But the thing was when they started, either the race team and the freestyle team, they realized that the freestyle team was very valuable because we could go to Schwinn dealerships, and it was about brand awareness. It wasn't about how many BMX bikes you could sell. It was about selling the name Schwinn and bringing people to the Schwinn shop. Because at the time, it was kind of an American company, and Schwinn was, they had their own stores. It was just all Schwinn. So we were the perfect vehicle to promote the brand, especially with Jay or Osato and those guys being on TV for Gravity Games and X Games.
I mean, the team was heavy. It was Jay, Osato.
Way more notoriety, way more visibility for Schwinn with those guys than any of the road bike stuff or mountain bike shit. Yeah.
Do you think that the success of those dudes was directly related to being on tour with each other for 6 months out of the year?
What do you mean?
Meaning like getting to obviously Dave and Jay are from Vancouver, but all those dudes, when you ride around other people that are of that level, do you think that was one of the ingredients to why those guys were so successful all the time?
I mean, I can't speak for them, but I do know that Jay's a very driven dude, and he is pretty much going to be the best he can be at anything he does. And I mean, it shows in what he does now.
And at some point,
and they just feed off each other. Like they told me about sessions they had when they had the warehouse up in Vancouver, about how every day when they rode, you drop in and you have to do these compulsory tricks out of the gate. Like, you've got to do them or you start over until you do them all in sequence. Like, so you drop in, 3 the spine, toothpick the sub, flip the spine,
whatever it was,
nose pick tail whip, and you better do them all in sequence right out of the gate. No warm-ups.
Jeez, that's awesome.
Yeah. And if you don't do it, you start over.
That seems like a very
it's discipline.
Yeah, and that are all about that.
Yeah, and
but they're wild ones, right? Because at some point Pacific bought Schwinn, right?
Yeah,
and they were owned by GT as well.
Yeah, well, they weren't owned by GT. Pacific owned GT.
Pacific owned GT. I mean, yeah. And then you'd said before that sometimes on the road the GT team would meet up with the Schwinn team and set up right next to each other. And you guys have like a mega tour.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. Like,
with like all of them, just
dude,
one show.
It was insane.
Just like
there was a couple, like some shows where we would, because the Schwinn dealerships were now carrying some GT stuff, so both GT and Schwinn we would try and get it to where we could at some point meet up and have a show together. And like, you got Jay and Dave Volker and Mike Perenni, and like,
can you imagine,
dude? The shows were insane.
Yeah,
insane.
Yeah,
like we'd have GT set up on one end, and then our quarter pipe and our setup going in the other direction. So it was like 2 box jumps. We had a street spine set up, and it was, dude, ballistic. Guys were going nuts.
What was tour life like? Like, I felt like you're hitting some small town, and it's like you're there for the night. Yeah. You had to be like rock stars to a degree.
Hold on, cut shit with this. I'm gonna read you what Jay Miron wrote me on how big of a star Povah was.
There you go. This is what I want.
Here we go. Jay sent it to me this morning. Sent it to me this morning on the way down here.
I just want to take a moment and say thank you, Jay.
Yeah,
thank you, Jay. Come do the podcast, please, Jay.
Here we go.
Ain't happening.
But,
hey, you know what? I'm not a quitter, and I will keep asking. Please do the podcast, Jay. Straight at the camera.
Like done, Fudger?
Yes.
All right. Well, this is going to be the closest it gets.
Just zooming in.
All right.
Yeah. Please.
Povah is a stud. When John first became the Schwinn team manager, we were both in the late 20s. Hot older women in their 30s and 40s would always fall in love with him. He got young girls too. as well, but it was the older women who'd fall hard. It was hilarious watching these women totally fall apart trying to impress him.
This is so lame.
The craziest time on the craziest time was on the double backflip show I did.
Oh yeah.
One of the producers started writing him love letters and saying he made her feel so young again. How she wanted to leave her husband for him and all this other random funny stuff.
True story.
She only knew him for 3 or 4 days. Another time, we just finished a show and these two guys came up to us saying that they managed the coolest bar in town and they invited us to go there for the night on them. The place was super fun. One of the guys' girlfriends sat down with us and sure enough, she started flirting hard with John. She was in her early 30s and insanely hot. 10.5 out of 10.
It's hard to imagine Jay writing this.
Jay's a good writer.
Yeah.
John was torn. He wanted to hook up with her pretty badly, but her dude was super cool, so John couldn't do it. As we're all getting drunker and drunker, she's going harder and harder. He's grabbing me saying, Jay, you got to keep an eye out for me. I'm feeling weak and I don't want to be an asshole.
Her dude wanted it.
I just started laughing at him so hard, watching it all go down right in front of the dude. I can't believe he held it together that night. I could go on and on of the stories. Man, we have so many good ones with a guy like Povah. I love you.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks,
that's
Jake.
adorable. Damn, that's a moment of the podcast right there for me.
Yeah.
That's sick.
But it's like Jay was on the podcast.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it right there. Thank you, Jay.
To me, when I was talking to people to write, my sort of thing was, send me something about John Povah.
Yeah.
And everyone, it seems like the through line to everyone is how much of a stand-up guy John has been to everyone for so many years. And some people, Pat Miller wrote, the Fat Miller.
Hold on. Do we want to go? Let's drill in on this first.
Okay,
Let's drill on the Miron thing first.
What?
So you lied to me. I said you guys had to be rock stars, and you're like, nah.
No,
you lied to me.
on the drive down here with Mike, I told him a lot of this shit I don't remember until someone else brings it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then some memories come back. I'm old. I just can't remember shit. And maybe there's some stuff I deliberately blank out, but
well, okay. So let's do. We have this obviously. Which one's longer?
The double backflip.
Yeah, it's right here. Right here.
The double backflip show was crazy.
To me, this is still the best double backflip I've ever seen on camera. Because Jay, to me, is the only person who does them for real.
So sick the way he said it.
John's face.
Was it named John Ritter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Yeah.
And the girl host on this, she died as well.
Oh.
Yeah. Just recently.
After John turned her down.
No,
that was the producer.
Jay turned her down.
Oh, Jay turned her down.
It was Miss America.
Whoa.
She was Miss America. Why did Jay turn her down?
Because he had a girlfriend.
Oh, good on Jay.
Yeah. No, he's a good dude. I was a stunt coordinator on this show.
Yeah,
and I built the ramps.
And this is also the first time you'd ever seen a resi.
Yeah.
No, it's not. See, this is the thing with this. Okay, we'll pause it. When I heard about this story, I heard that it was Jay never counted it because it was like not a real ramp or something like that. And so it just like went on like that was it. It doesn't actually count.
It wasn't. He had done these before on Woodward's resi.
Yeah.
It existed.
Yeah.
But he put his own lip over the top of their lip, a bigger radius.
Mm-hmm.
So he could get the height he needed to do it, but it was on a resi.
Oh, so this wasn't the first resi.
No.
Oh, okay.
But this ramp, it has like 3/4 ply on it.
Yeah.
It's not resi in any sense. It like gives like
it gives a little
like
bit.
2 inches.
Yeah,
nothing.
Not much.
It, like when you see him land, like
there's barely any give.
look at Povah.
Look at him.
Is that you?
There. Yeah, dude.
Watch they get on
my hair dyed black.
Sorry about the audio. It is what it is, though.
Yeah.
Look at the muscle up there.
Mm-hmm.
The funny story is Jay's ironically scared of heights, and we had the scissor lift going up, and every time I would shake the shit out of the scissor lift, I'd be like, Povah, fucking quit it. I'll fucking kill you. And I just laugh. It was just, for somebody as badass as he is, like to be scared of heights, I was like, you're a pussy.
Oh, motherfucker.
Yeah. Good times. We were there for like maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Not wild.
Yeah.
Now this wouldn't even be a qualifying run.
No. You're not even in the finals.
No. It's the truth.
What is this shit?
What is this?
I know.
I mean, the X Games, 1440 happened, got third place in best trick.
It's insane.
1440.
I know.
We were talking about that yesterday, and I did a 1440 on flat ground, just spinning around, and I was so dizzy.
Dude,
Like just you mean just like on your feet?
On my feet.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
do a 1440 in your car, driving in a circle parking lot. You're dizzy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
So you guys killed.
So
both these hosts?
that was the one. That was Jesus. We killed both. You guys killed both.
She had
these
some
posts.
like brain aneurysm or something. Yeah, she had the hots for Jay.
She did.
See, look, that's a padding, but look at that board.
Did it just go down just a
But
little bit?
it's got
Take a little bit
wood
sting out.
over
Barely,
it.
Yeah.
barely. You'll see.
Povah. So did they tell you to like be tough up there
No,
or something?
no,
That was
That's
just
just how you were.
That's how I am.
Yeah.
I'm tough. Everyone always says I look like a dick.
You look like road crew for like Megadeth.
I wish.
Oh,
yeah. Look how resi that was.
So the night before this went down, the night before this went down, like they essentially like because it was ordinary, extraordinary. There was other things going on. Like the whole show was built around other things besides this.
Yeah.
Just extraordinary situations. There was a guy that accidentally got shot in the head and he only had half a head, and it was insane.
Yeah.
But the night before, he tried a double flip and knocked himself out pretty bad, and they are losing their minds. They don't know what to do because this whole show is. The studio is built for him.
Yeah.
And
Jay knocked himself out.
yes.
How did that happen?
Double flip.
Yeah, but how
Like
did
over under.
Come on, over rotate, under rotate.
I don't remember. Anyway, he knocked
Good
himself
story.
Neither
Go on.
does
out.
Jay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. That's not the part of the story. I'm just trying to.
Okay.
He knocked himself out, which is common, you know.
Yeah.
And they're losing their minds. They're like, "Oh, there is no show. We've built this ramp. We got it shipped out here from the West Coast. This is in Florida, Universal Studios or Disney Studios or whatever." And so I'm just like, I'm trying to calm everybody down. Like the ambulance is there. They want to take him away. And I'm like, no, it's okay. This happens all the time. And they're like scratching their heads. They're like, no, he should go to hospital. Like, but I had to calm everybody down. And Jay's like, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. And like, because he was out snoring for a sec.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So furthering the idea that this is not a resi ramp. You know, like it was a full blown ramp.
And also,
Like-
no one had done this yet.
Yeah.
So, which makes it really gnarly.
So they're freaking out probably at that point too.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
he's like that he's not committing to it and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
he's not going to be able to do the show. He's
Yeah.
not going to be able to do what he did here.
But even in the show, right? They
Yeah.
like this is none of this is like hammed up. Like
No,
yeah.
no, that's all legit.
Yeah.
What I like about Jay's double flips is it's the only guy who extends the second one.
Yeah.
Everyone else just does like keeps a tight ball the whole time.
Yeah.
And he does one and then like stretches it out. It's dope.
really?
Yeah, we really had to make sure the ramp was situated in the studio correctly because he was almost hitting
In
the
the ceiling.
rafters. It was, yeah. Kip Williamson was there. Mavro was there. I think Ron Bonner was there. We got dope.
Jeez.
So
See how
good.
different it looks?
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
It's not this.
It was
tight up.
lofty. Yeah, it was lofty.
Wow.
Did they I think they show it again.
Yeah.
The host is like, that was awesome. I love you.
Yeah, we partied that night.
Dude,
Dude, it
it's
was
so
huge.
crazy looking.
It's so good.
He did it perfect.
Perfect.
So dialed.
Perfect.
Yeah,
So was this the first ever real double front flip or double back flip?
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, because
But then didn't BMX as a whole not accept it for some reason? like,
I mean,
Oh, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't remember feeling that way.
I thought you were saying Jay just didn't count it.
I thought Jay didn't really count it. And I heard,
I don't know. I was around Jay, so I mean, obviously, I counted it. I saw him do it.
yeah.
He pulled
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, whether there was a resi or not. I mean, we obviously
Look at how high he is, dude.
I know. Look at see the opening in the rafters there.
Yeah.
Insane.
Jeez.
But we built it closer to being a real jump than we just put the pad in there because he'd been practicing it on a resi
Yeah.
at Woodward.
I mean, you can see it doesn't flex really.
Yeah.
No,
barely
it
moves.
doesn't
Yeah.
give it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy because I feel like he didn't get the credit he deserved for it. Because the one that everyone gets credit for, that Miron gets credit for the one at the X Games in the late would have been 97.
Well, the
98
one off the vert wall in Florida, I feel like is credited.
That was
Oh, that's the first one. Yeah, North Carolina.
That was the first one in the
North
contest.
Carolina, right?
Yeah.
First one in the contest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
then the second one's
I
the
feel
X
like they
Games,
just
that's
say
right.
that's the first one.
Yeah, I know, man.
That's what I mean. Like, I feel like Jay never got the credit that he deserved for this double flip.
There's a lot of stuff he didn't get credit for.
Yeah.
There's weird stuff too, because like even like I know he was bummed with him when the Mad Matt came out.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Jay Miron had a section, and then Matt Hoffman had a section, and then at the end of the Matt Hoffman section sort of turns into like him and Jay doing the gnarliest stuff.
Oh,
But anybody who wouldn't know would just assume it's Jay. It would assume it's Matt.
yeah.
You know what I mean? There's been I think a few things where Jay
not intent. Was that you think it was intentional
no.
or just?
I don't think it was not intentional, but it just happened to be that way. You know?
Yeah.
You don't think about it when you're making the video.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
But I feel like Jay didn't get the credit. I mean, there's like 5 or 6 dudes that can do everything
Mm-hmm.
in the history of the sport, right?
Yeah.
Like do it good. Like Jay can ride dirt, he can ride street, he can ride vert ramps, he can ride flatland, park. There's a couple dudes in Jay's. I mean, you got Jay, Asado.
I mean, not flat, but
McCoy,
Dennis and
No,
Peraza.
Jay
was a badass.
Yeah. I'm saying like
I'll go
not
on
flat.
record, and anyone.
Yeah.
I'll argue with anybody. Jay's the best all-round rider ever.
Yeah. I mean, the only people
Ever.
only people in contention are like Asado, Miron, McCoy, Keggy, other than Flatland, you know, but he rides everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not that many dudes that can do everything.
Well, Jay was actually riding flatland, like
Because in those AFA ones that you had to.
Yeah, Jay.
Oh, really?
I
didn't know that.
But Jay
he's
a
a
whiplash down the street.
He's a badass.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for real.
sick.
Yeah, dude. It's insane.
McCoy and Miron, they're both, and Mira too. Like they all rode flat because it was like that was what was essentially popular at the time.
You had to do it because you had to ride flat and this.
You had to ride
for your points.
everything for the points.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That'd be cool to do a contest like that.
It would.
I mean, now
not many people would.
Now you got dudes who could win a street contest and can't drop in a vert ramp. You know what I mean? Or would be gnarly to drop in.
That's why I said
vert ramp's scary, man.
You're right. That's why I said Peraza and Dennis are the modern day versions of that, like in the sense. But Sands flatland, like they're flat ground maybe, but not flatland.
Jay won the first. It was just a jumping contest, but he won the first X Games dirt.
Yeah.
I was into a pile of dirt.
I remember the announcer's like, he's like, eyes like silver dollars as he's doing the flip or something like that. Yeah, something corny. But
Jay's like, he's a competitor, man.
So this is 97. Mm-hmm. So is that the year that you became the Schwinn TM? Pretty early on?
Would have been before that, right?
It was 96.
96, okay. Yeah. So how long were you the Schwinn TM?
Till 2001 when they filed bankruptcy.
Okay, so 5 years. For some reason, I feel like that was like longer in my head. But what are the highlights? Was there any,
dude, working for them, like they got bought and sold a few different times when I was working there. They were originally owned by, I think, Scott Racing or something, and Scott understood at the time the kind of vision that a lot of like Jay and those guys had for, like originally it was like, Jay and John Paul, they would be like, okay, we got to do this. If you want to be legit in the sport, you got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone listened. But as time went by and the numbers on paper weren't lining up, new owners came in. Well, we're not doing that again. We're not doing that again. And gradually, the powers that we answer to lost any say in the direction of where the brand was going, or at least the freestyle and the race end of things. I think in any business, like with Jay and I've discussed this, but they'll take your advice for so long, and at some point, okay, we got it from here. We'll take care of it, and that's when shit goes south. Yeah.
Was it what was your when you think of a TM these days, I feel like it's not as involved as it was back then. How many people did you have on the team at like peak?
Probably. Well, there was, I started taking the pressure off of like Osado and Jay, and I brought more show guys in like Koji and Adam Banton and
Kimmler. Kimmler's on at some point, right?
Yeah, but Kimmler was
a contest guy.
He was a contest dude, but he still did shows here.
Aaron Banky?
No.
Is that right?
No.
Andrew Ferris?
He was GC. Ferris.
Andrew Ferris.
Ferris,
that's
Sean
a good
Peters.
reference right there.
That's Sean Peters who I was thinking.
Sean Peters. Yeah. I mean, so the higher profile guys like Jay and Osado, I would take the pressure off of them from going to do shows, because some of the shows just, it wasn't worth their time.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine Miron and Osato doing shows you would think.
But originally, before I got there, Jay was doing all of it. He was doing the contest. He was driving to all the demos. He was managing the whole. He was doing it all.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And at some point, it got too much for him, and he didn't want to, deal with that stuff. And that was when my name got brought to the table.
Yeah.
And when the contest came, it was, I mean, you became like, I mean, you were Schwinn's team manager. I mean, but it's always a joke. It's like, well, where's Povah fixing a flat? Because he was so helpful. You know what I mean? Like, because nobody else really had that. There was a couple teams that kind of had it, but not in the capacity that you had it. Mm-hmm. You were doing, it's like, if Jay got a flat in between runs, that flat was fixed before Jay got his helmet off.
Because there was a 2-minute grace period where you could fix your bike
and go again,
or get a new bike.
And so we could get it done quick. Yeah. But in that period but Povah kind of became the entire industry's team manager because he did it for everyone, and so I think, although it feels like, oh, you were the Schwinn team manager, I think for everyone at that time, you just felt like you were the guy that fixed problems. Yeah,
because I was always the dude that brought all the tools.
And you had everything.
Spare parts, pump,
Schwinn had tons of tubes.
Yeah.
No one else had any.
Free shit. Yeah, and I kind of do remember that, like being that way. And
it
was nice. If it felt good.
Blyther even said, Povah looked after all of us.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Pat Miller. I like that. Pat Miller, this is a great quote from Pat Miller. Yeah. I can be somewhat of a negative person, but I can't think of one bad thing about Povah. He's a good dude 100% of the time. And Osato said, he's a person you can count on being there from you and have your back no matter what situation. He's what I call a very genuine person and great friend. Every single person I talked to, the through line was that you were someone who was dependable and cool to everyone, which I find weird because everyone thinks you're so salty.
Exactly.
Which,
right?
I know you.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, he changed your flat, but he fucking hates you.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't hate anybody.
I know. I'm kidding. So after Schwinn, when the Schwinn thing happened, did it just like end, or was it a trickle out?
We were on tour at the time, and I had a corporate card. I could, hotels, whatever. But one day I'm like checking a hotel and the card's not working. And I call my boss, Jeff at Schwinn. He's like, oh yeah, there's some stuff going on here. Just put it on your card. And I'm like, I kind of don't want to. But so I started racking shit up on my card. I get home and the plug's been pulled. And now I've charged all this shit on my credit card, like 11 grand in hotels and gas and food. And
could you get that reimbursed?
I never got reimbursed.
Oh, way.
What?
Yeah.
So at the end of the Schwinn thing, you were out.
You were left with $1,100 check.
$11,000
bill.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's gnarly.
Yeah.
Insult to injury.
And was it like I said, was it overnight? Like you got a phone call, it was gone? Or was it like
pretty much gone?
Okay. It wasn't like
but then
kicking people off until it was just gone.
Did you like steal anything?
Hell yeah.
I would.
Well, because I was storing two vehicles, a Toyota Sequoia and the dually, a half pipe trailer, a quarter pipe trailer, PAs, bike parts, or whatever. Like, and I'm like,
you're fucking down 11 grand. You're like, I'm gonna get my 11 grand back. Yeah. Maybe 13.
Did you recoup any of that cost?
20.
Part of it. But honestly, that was the best job I ever had. Like, even though how it ended, like, was not.
I mean, everything comes to an end.
Right.
Yeah. I guess good thing comes to an end, and usually in a bad way. And when it doesn't come in a bad way, you wish it wouldn't end.
All the situations that I got put into, or the experiences I had, like just doing that double backflip show, or some dude asking me to bang his wife, or like, I just, like, that's the best life ever.
Yeah. That's the trailer for the Povah podcast right there.
Ooh, I want to see what's in this one.
It was I worked from home. I had to go to Boulder Boulder, Colorado, where Schwinn was based out of, like once a month maybe, for meetings. But it was just the best job ever. It allowed me in the off season to go and do stuff like the Warp Tour. And
you did you were a rider on the Warp Tour for all those first years and stuff.
Originally, I helped design and build the vert ramp. It was
in '95.
Portable vert ramp. But then we also rode and did shows there as well. And that was another amazing experience. Like, you're on tour with Pennywise and Social Distortion and all these bands that blew up later on. Like,
I mean, and sometime around there, I mean, for me, Povah has always been like, he's been in my life since I've been like 15 or 14 years old, always helping me. Some years we talk less or more. I mean, even things like the flip rail, like me and John built that flip rail from Forward at his house. Yeah. And that's before you were Etnies team manager.
Yep.
And at some point I stopped being team manager. Nate Hansen was team manager.
Yep.
Then he was let go from that. And I suggested Don had asked me, who do I think? I said, well, Povah doesn't have to swim anymore. He's not doing anything with his life.
And at that time I'd gone, like every time I've gone back to ramp building, like
never painting cars.
No.
Okay.
I was kind of at the peak of where I could have gone with the car painting. And other than starting a business with it, I was right at, like, I couldn't have gone any higher.
Who were you building ramps for before Etnies came along?
Spawn Ranch.
Oh, you're back at Spawn.
Yeah.
Like, Spawn Ranch now is
Spawn Ranch.
Spawn Ranch, but they build a lot of the skate parks.
Oh,
a lot of the cement parks you see in California.
They're first, they're the guys that kind of set the precedent for a lot of the parks these days. Before they came along, it was kind of like the Wild West as far as building techniques, and that they kind of implemented a lot of the structure and how parks should be built today. Because before, in the early 90s, there's a lot of parks that popped up that were crap.
Yeah.
I mean, really bad. So they kind of started implementing all these standards, and a lot of skate park companies hated them for that. But now it's standardized a lot of things that make the parks better.
There's still wood at that time.
Yeah,
wood parks,
wood, metal frames.
Yeah,
and some concrete.
And what were you doing? You're building ramps just out of wood, or you were welding? What were you doing?
Both. Wood, depending on what somebody wanted. A lot of the ramps we made were like metal fabricated, and we would ship them out and assemble them. And this is kind of prior to Skate Light, but.
And there was I know you're just talking about it, but there wasn't really any concrete parks back then.
No, there wasn't really any concrete parks. Not in California.
Right.
There were them in Oregon. We'd go to Northern California, Oregon, like late 90s, or in Vancouver had them, but like late 90s, early 2000s, we would maybe like Ashland was around, and Talent there was only a few. But there wasn't, and there were some like old ones like Redding in Northern California, but there wasn't really cement parks.
It wasn't.
The first real cement park was in Huntington Beach, and it looks like a little plaza area with circles.
Oh, I remember that one by the high school, right?
Horrible.
Or it was
nothing was over 18 inches tall.
It was in a park.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. It was all real.
No, it's a different one.
No, this one in the park, right around
Murdy.
Yeah, right around the corner from the step up jump.
The ashtray.
Yeah, it just looks like a little circle.
It was right off the
Golden West
main road, right?
Yeah. There's nothing there. Little curb things and like a little. And they spent $100 and something thousand on that. Yeah. Crazy.
What? Yeah, they call it the ashtray because it's so small.
Yeah, it's dumb.
But then there was a little plaza at Huntington High.
Huntington High for a bit, yeah.
Yeah, but that went away.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking.
That was at the high school.
Plaza. Yeah.
Because to your question, like there was a period in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s when they built a ton of concrete skate parks. But then for some reason, the bottom fell out of skateboarding and BMX. So the parks kind of went away and
got buried.
Lawsuits. Yeah. There was like a lot of lawsuits going on. Everyone was so happy at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then fast forward a decade, and that's when more parks started popping up again.
But because of the X Games.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone, back then, X Games was like a love-hate thing.
Yep.
People, if you're at the contests, I always think that from 88 to 95 was, to me, the best time in bike riding. Had nothing to do with the tricks. Mm-hmm. Had to do with that there was no companies involved.
Yeah.
Other than bike. I feel like those are the years that set what bike riding is today. Because it was like jerseys. Then everyone looked like crackheads and rock stars. And then 95 again, you got TJ Lavin and Mountain Dew. And you know what I mean? It's back to jerseys.
Yeah.
And so this was the time when the factions were started. You know what I mean? You were this, or you were this, and you were this guy. And then because BMX doesn't make any money for the most part as a rider without contests, people quickly fell back in line. You know what I mean? With what you needed to look like to make money.
It seemed like the most progressive times in the sport have been when it's at its lowest.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So now you're building ramps at Spawn Ranch.
Well, I one quick question is, so are you the one that has to tell all the riders that were under you that they no longer are sponsored as well? Yeah.
How'd that go?
Because I mean, I know Van's story because
I'm good at this point. but I'm good at letting people go at this point.
Even at Schwinn, the Schwinn days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Who was the first rider you ever had to let go?
Probably, Adam Banton and maybe Byron Anderson. And the funny story though. So, you know, we stopped getting paid and, you know, Schwinn's no more. 3 months, 4 months go by. I get a phone call from Sean Peters because he doesn't look at magazines or nothing. Doesn't call anybody, doesn't talk to anybody, lives in Pittsburgh or whatever. He's like, hey, Povah, my check hasn't come for the last couple of months. What's going on? I'm like, he obviously hasn't looked at a magazine, like Schwinn bankrupt, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm like, dude, like, come on, man. Like just the check stopped coming. Yeah, because there is no more Schwinn.
How long? 4 months.
Yeah.
But wasn't it your job to tell him?
I don't know. Maybe.
But you were no longer employed either. So
yeah, it's not my job anymore.
Yeah. They owed him 11 grand.
Yeah.
Crazy. So what was that time period that you were back to building ramps? Like how long?
2001 was when they filed bankruptcy. I was back probably, I'd say, under a year.
Yeah.
When did you start doing the thing at Etnies?
2002.
Okay.
No, 2001.
Was there any phone calls from other brands?
Yeah. I was there 16 and a half years.
Etnies. Oh, I didn't realize it was 2002.
I remember going to a meeting with Mark Holder and Don Brown. And I was super tentative because, you know, they were all friends with Nate. And
Nate Hansen.
Okay.
He was the team manager.
He was team manager for a short period of time.
And then he got let go.
Yeah, and then so
for reasons we won't discuss.
Yeah.
Please, discuss them.
No.
Nah.
But so all the riders on the team are my friend, but Nate's also my friend. So I didn't want to his body's not even cold yet.
But also in John's defense, Nate's the only person in the history of the world that got let go for a job and then got a raise to make him feel better as a rider.
Fair enough.
So it was fine.
Yeah.
Nate was fine and it was cool and he was good.
So how did the Etnies program start? Didn't you start the program?
He started.
In 95.
Okay. So it was
95. And then I was team manager. I was team manager. Well, like I was just a rider and then I convinced him to start a team.
Okay.
And then I was working forever. I'm like, we got to do shoes. We got to do shoes. We got to do shoes. And then we started the shoes sometime working on them, like late 90s, early 2000s, like working on them. They didn't come out for years later. And then at some point I was doing a terrible job because I was trying to ride bikes. I wasn't trying to ship shoes out. And, you know, it's like, I just wasn't, I'm just not that guy, you know?
And so Etnies at that point was like a way smaller company.
It was super DIY.
It was small, but it wasn't that small. I mean, it was.
Well,
still,
you were shipping shoes out though.
Well, I wasn't shipping them. I was just going in to put the orders in.
Oh, okay.
My job, right?
Yeah.
Someone call me. I'm like, oh, I'm on the road. I'm on, you know, and I would forget. I'm terrible at remembering anything. But I mean, at that point,
but that's still pretty gnarly that Rooftop is answering a shop from like a
no.
I'm
talking for the riders.
For riders. Oh,
riders.
okay. All right.
No. I'm just going in. I got to go in once a week.
Fair enough.
And no, I'm not. I was never going to work.
Dude, I don't know.
That was a problem.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle that little bit of work, the 8 riders. And so at some point I think I suggested Nate to do it. And then that worked for a bit and then there was an issue with that. And so then I suggested
What
John.
issue, Rooftop?
And then I suggested John. And I said John, and to me that was like a hot flash. And then I suggested John because to me John was perfect. I'm like he just came off Schwinn. Finally, someone could fix my flats. I was like, this is going to be perfect.
He tolerated me when I was 15. No, but also probably John, can tolerate me now.
Had a track record. You know?
Yeah, John had a track record. He was like an adult. You know, like he wasn't trying to be a professional bike rider either.
Great ponytail. And so I suggested John, and to me it was like a home run. And I'm like, sweet, this John is going to be like, I'm sweet. You know what I mean? Like this is going to be great. And then you know,
it was for a minute.
And then and it was good. So we did all the backyard.
16 years.
Yeah, but you like right after that is when you started with all the backyard jams, right? Like Etnies became the title sponsor with the backyard jams. So
yeah,
you had a lot of responsibility.
And that wasn't me. That's all Ian and Stu.
Yeah,
that was them.
Was that done through Etnies UK?
There was a distributor there called A4.
Yeah, A4.
Yeah. They were the Etnies was distributed through them, and they were the ones that helped put on Backyard Jam. They did an amazing job.
But we did at that time. We were doing 3 trips a year, probably to England,
for sure.
because of all the backyard jams.
Mhm.
We were doing a ton. I mean,
What was
had
the
a
first
lot
year? What was the first year backyard jam? Or
Well, that's
what's
like
the most
early
notable one?
90s.
Well,
Yeah.
there was backyard jams before Etnies was involved.
Those were in
Yeah.
the early 90s.
Yeah,
And
when
then
Moeller and that was going, and
my first one was 95. I went to a backyard jam in 95 with the chasm jump.
yeah, it was insane.
But then
Oh yeah.
in the late, in the
yeah.
early 2000s, they came back as like contests, like wood
Yeah.
contests
No, yeah.
indoors.
Chasm jump
Yeah.
stuff.
And but the thing is, you had a lot of riders to take care of. The
Oh,
team was big at that point.
Yep.
Were the challenges for
Maybe.
doing
There you
Etnies
go.
different?
This is probably a classic
Different
year.
than doing Etnies? Doing Schwinn to Etnies? Because there were no shows.
Well-
it was a different group of guys.
it was
This is 2002 footage.
from, like, you mean contest to contest? Like if I was
Well,
dealing
just
with,
your duties in general as a team manager seemed like they would be very different. You know, like
it was just a different. The riders that I was focused on for events like backyard or for video projects was
Mhm.
different than like the focus for Schwinn was, brand awareness and visibility and contests, big platform contests like X Games and Gravity Games. And then shift to Etnies, and it was more of a core focus and just a different demographic trying to buy shoes as opposed to trying to sell fucking road bikes and BMX bikes and shit.
at that time, our pro shoes had just come out, right? Probably about the
Yeah.
time you.
Yeah.
So I had a shoe. Taj and Joe had a shoe.
Yeah.
And do you remember any difficulties about that? Because I remember Etnies was trying to do the right thing by just having the shoes available in bike shops only to
Yeah.
try to turn those bike shops into dealers so they could really see where the money was coming from instead of just people
Yeah.
went to skate shops.
Yeah,
and
it
buy it.
had-
But it really didn't help our program at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
they
Well, that's always been the plight of BMXers. They go
For
to
sure.
skate shops.
for sure.
They don't have a
Well,
bike shop that they
yeah,
like.
They're
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
they're trying to justify their outgoing
Of course,
expenses,
yeah.
and then bike shops are just not set up the same as a skate shop. It's
And Mom and Pa doesn't want to buy all these shoes.
it's 95% hard goods as opposed to a skate shop. There's 95% soft goods.
Yeah, yeah.
You might find a bike shop here and there, like Pusher or the carries.
Yeah, but
Shoes?
even back then, it's like, yeah, when you think of shoes, you don't think bike shop.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't line
Yeah.
up.
Did it feel, because to me, that era, the 2000 or like even like 98 to 2005-ish, felt like what I feel like the 80s felt like.
Mhm.
It was just like, you want to go here? Cool, no problem.
Yeah.
Like at that time, I felt like I'd ask you or whoever, I want to go here. No problem.
Oh yeah.
Want money
But
for
I mean,
this?
like,
no problem.
Budget had to be huge.
No, it wasn't huge, but it was managed well.
Peak Schwinn budget.
Schwinn was
Peak
much
budget.
bigger.
Because
Yeah,
people
all right.
at Jay and Dave were making a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were making a huge salary where
Yeah.
where Etnies was spread a little more thin. There was
Yeah.
us who were making shoes. We had a contract for the shoes,
Mhm.
but in theory, the shoes were paying for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
And then like they obviously Etnies has a skate team to worry about, and that's always going to be their focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A dumb question. What was like the first like rider signature shoe
For Etnies,
for any brand?
It's either.
Like,
I was the first one in Etnies, but it would have been Alan Foster's.
The Fosters,
That's what I was
Foster
gonna say,
brothers,
yeah.
Airwalk.
Yeah,
Airwalk.
yeah.
and that's
But-
not that much
But
earlier.
the first
No,
BMX, I'd say the first BMX shoes or rider-owned shoes was the Dyno shoes.
No. But dude, who had a signature?
like a
shoe.
rider
yeah.
signature shoe,
Signature
like
shoe.
because I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like
So,
that,
yeah,
I
like
get
that
that.
idea,
Yeah.
like I
I'm
always
just
think
saying.
of,
I
I
think-
kind of think of
It was
like,
me.
yeah,
It was me, and then
Yeah.
and
and
for
Foster's.
Etnies,
Yeah.
but the Fosters who had Airwalk.
Yeah.
I think slightly before that.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was before
Uh,
because I was on Schwinn when those shoes came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So slightly before, and they were ugly.
Yeah.
Fuck, they were ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look like bowling shoes.
Yeah, they were like bowling
did.
shoes. Exactly.
They
what I was about to
really-
say.
they
That's what,
really,
that's what
really
they were
did.
going for, was a bowling shoe look.
Yeah, they were ugly.
Great
Ugly,
idea.
Ugly.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Which is still wild.
Revolutionary.
Still rad.
Oh, side note, like Schwinn, we actually started working on a second video. There was American Muscle.
Yeah.
But we started working on a second video when we were about a year in and they filed bankruptcy. So that footage is somewhere.
Who filmed it?
Oh wow.
It was all on film. It was not like
Shot on film.
shot on film, whatever. I can't remember the dude's name, but he was like a high profile filmer.
Like it was involved
He
with
was a
BMX.
mountain bike filmer.
Huh?
And it's, yeah. I remember Van filming some stuff at the S&M warehouse when they had the mini spine there. Doing a couple of trips with Osato and
I wonder, dude.
That'd be
Dude, right?
I wonder. Think of his name.
Did you let's back up?
Cap,
I didn't even think about this. Did you? Are you
Like,
the one who
because
put-
if, dude, it'd be
Like,
so, you know, like those
I'd track
tapes,
him
those
down.
tapes, the DC
Dude,
tapes
right?
that showed
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
you know,
this-
like that
this
sort
was-
of
this-
shit.
Yeah.
this was
like-
heavy stuff.
But
It
if
was-
he,
it was real
if,
heavy.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
that'd be
Were you
amazing.
responsible for putting Van on?
No.
Who was
That's-
responsible?
That's John Paul.
John Paul.
John
And
Paul.
he was on the other side. He
Yeah,
wasn't.
yeah.
You didn't deal
Yeah,
with Van.
he dealt with like kind of, it was weird. He dealt with the
Why
red
is
team
that?
and kind of the street.
because he was dirt.
Oh,
Yeah, so he got he.
Yeah.
I remember Van talking about this, that he felt like he got the short end of the stick because he was on the tour team and shit like that, and he was like bummed.
yeah.
He barely did any shows.
Yeah,
Dirt jumper trying to
and
be
he got the
rider.
and he got
Claiming this whole time.
he got the good end of it too because he pieced out for Fit like
yeah,
before.
there is no
yeah.
Paul Van. Van's, he did okay with short.
All those dudes did okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Masato used to tell me, he's like, because I was like, I don't know what I made from. I think I were in Hoffman bikes. Then that end of that 2000, I made I think I made $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
Right at around 2000, and I was like, killing it.
Yeah.
You know, and then I
Yeah.
heard what those dudes are making. And I was
Oh, yeah.
like, oh my god,
Yeah.
because
Back then, they were making.
way more,
5 times more,
Were we talking
Range?
6, 7?
maybe,
10.
Yeah.
maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe, because also they were also converting it to Canadian. And
Yep.
at that time, the
They were cashing
exchange, so
in.
they were making like $3 or $4 grand more a month
They were
because
stoked.
once they
Yeah.
converted it, it was
Yeah.
worth so much more.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. And I was like, and I heard that, I was like,
Good
no
for
wonder
them.
you guys own houses at 21 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're making 8 times more money than everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, they killed it. John did a good job making sure everyone
I
made
know,
money.
nothing to do with me.
Just take it.
They were already. They were kind of already. Osato and Jay were already. They were set up.
Yeah.
Was there times with Schwinn that you were having to like fight for fight for the guys kind of thing? You
Yeah,
know, like stand
but-
up for
but I
them
was
kind of thing. or-
Fortunate in the fact that there was a lot of like-minded people there. I wouldn't have to fight with my direct managers. Those are the guys I had to fight with people above them.
Uh-huh.
What about, so now I'm going to drill in on this. What about fighting with like dudes on the team? Because I felt like that had to be like a rock star type age where like, you know, like Miron had that kind of back and forth with X Games and stuff like that. And you're like caught in the middle.
Yeah, but John's
of
an
any of that
ally.
shit.
You know, John being
No,
an ally.
of course, but he's caught in the middle, and so he's like, "Yeah, dude, like you kind of got to ride X Games and shit like that. You had to have."
I
those
don't remember any
conversations.
issues. Like
No?
I don't remember having to really go toe to toe with anybody.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
there were some drunken nights, but those are usually the stupidest things.
The foggy ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sometime between 2005 and 2008, though, I feel like Etnies you started feeling the pullback
Mhm.
a little bit because of like at some point, or somewhere around there, which Pac Sun.
Mhm.
Pac Sun decided they're not going to carry shoes anymore.
Hmm.
So Pac Sun stopped 2008 or 2008. They decided they weren't going to sell shoes anymore. So all the shoe companies were feeling it because at this point all the shoe companies were making a ton of shoes because they're producing a ton of shoes because Pac Sun was taking a ton of shoes.
Yeah.
mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And they pulled out, which I know was a huge hit to the budget for Etnies, and you had to we started letting people go. So
Yeah.
I remember I got a phone call from you, and you called, we talked for like about a half hour about whatever it was. I hung up, and I'm like, it was just a random phone
Yeah,
call.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then about 30 seconds later, you called back.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's up, dude? He's like, I got to talk to you, dude. I just pussed out on the last phone call. And
It's hard to do. It's your friend, right?
yeah. So he called me and told me that Etnies is no longer going to renew my contract. And so
What year was this?
this was 2008. Wait, maybe end of 2007. Maybe end of 2007, right? End of 2007. Yes, end of 2007.
Yeah.
My contract would have been up at the end of the year or something, right?
Mhm.
So 2008. I'd been on Etnies for, I don't know, since 1992 or 3 or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Long time. And so I, you know, me and John have been friends a long time, and I know he's got to do his job. So I think I made it pretty easy for you,
Mhm.
right? But it was gnarly because like I couldn't even get a hold of anyone at Etnies to even to say thank you. It was
Mhm.
really gnarly. And so what I want to know is who made that decision? Did you make it? Because I was told at one point we had to cut the budget and we could either get rid of because I was making a lot more money than me, Joe, and Taj and Ruben were, because I think Ruben had a shoe at that point too. We're making more money than, let's say, a Josh Stricker or somebody who would have a shoe. So I was told, well, we got to cut the budget so we could get rid of like 3 or 4 dudes or 5 dudes, or get rid of you. Or was it solely a Texas mafia situation? where because you were so tight with all the Texas dudes, and I was not. I was definitely an outsider at that point.
Yeah.
So which one was it, John? Was it a business decision, or were you just a pussy and you had to choose between friends? Be honest.
He's thinking about it.
I know he is thinking about it because no matter what he tells me, I know the truth.
Yeah, no.
So
I'm not a pussy.
I know he's not a pussy, but but we
no.
were cool the day after.
No, but it was a Texas Mafia.
Yeah, I knew it.
Like
motherfuckers. You won.
But it was, and in your defense, it was, you had a vision for things and you were always pushing for more and greater, but it wasn't a time when there was,
we could do it. Yeah.
There was no more and greater coming. It was going the other way. You know, money was going away, and
yeah, I understand it. I'm not mad about it.
So the people that aren't in between here, what do you like? You're saying that like Taj, Joe,
not Taj.
Well, I mean that's Texas Mafia,
not
right?
then though. By then it was
there was a tight group on the team,
and it was all there. It was like there was just a lot of the guys were, I say Texas Mafia. I love most of those guys.
Well,
but like
almost
with the exception of
no, but like
please elaborate.
No, just they. It was very much BMX had gone through a time right before that.
Just between us.
It'll stay between us.
Yeah. There's no cameras.
BMX gone through a time before that where you couldn't have 4-piece bars, and it was like it was a sin-worthy trespass. You know, if you did something, you could be the coolest dude, and then these dudes with a bigger mouth would say something, and all of a sudden you were at the bottom of the barrel because they didn't like handlebars. You know what I mean? Like it was a crazy time, and I was just on my own program.
Well, so
he was always pushing. Like,
I was always my program.
Mike was always pushing for more, for greater, to do better, to do more, to rather than just do some shitty video. Let's do a full blown video. Like there's a lot of credit to Mike for the program that it became.
Get the petroleum jelly. Let's set myself on fire.
We did even when we did the shoes, it was like they were like, okay, I remember like, okay, this is what we're gonna give, but I'm like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Because I've been around long enough, and I grew up in the skate industry with my friends. I'm like, this is people. $2 a shoe, like, and I had there was a time when I was like, well, Rooftop's all about the money. I'm like, it's weird that the people tell me I'm all about the money are the people I'm fighting to make money for.
Yeah,
like the same people that I was fighting to make sure that they all had a fair cut were, like, and that divided things. Like there's no, it's not like a hidden thing. Like I was not part of the cool group in those years. I feel like I'm reading between the lines a little bit, and I know some bits, but not all bits. And I obviously respect people too, so I don't want to say anything wrong. And everyone grows up, but it was just a very different time.
I feel like there was trendsetters and kind of like almost like so you're saying there's a kind of like a mean girl type aspect, sort of. It's like he's not cool. He shouldn't be part of the brand.
It's not that he's not cool. He wasn't on the same page.
It wasn't on the same
page.
Everyone was like abiding by the same rules and traveling down the same path and dressing the same.
And he was an outlier.
And set themselves on fire.
That wasn't even, come on.
Well, that's just that's just the example that everybody.
Like here's an
snow
example.
bike. Then
so when we I didn't do snow bikes. I did bikes in the snow.
Bikes in the snow. Yeah. Listen, what is a bike in the snow?
A few years later, that would be the cover of UK Ride.
Right.
Yeah. But here's
that show would be viral
when we were doing Grounded.
Yeah,
I remember I got an email that said, "Hey, here are all the places we're going to go for team trips." And I wrote an email back and said, "Why did we just list all of the spots that Road Fools just went to for the last 3 stuff? Like, let's go to new spots." Like this is that. We're coming off the biggest video ever done in bike riding.
Mm-hmm.
We need to set the trend on what. It's the same way I feel about famous spots. I don't know if you've ever heard this. I'm not. You rarely will ever catch me or would have caught me riding a famous spot because I'm like, if it's I would like to be. I would rather be with the group of guys making spots famous.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm like, I don't need what.
No,
you're going there. Half the cloud of your trick is it's that spot. And I want nothing to do with it. So that's how I felt about when we were filming videos. Let's do something. And I remember the email I got back was like, I was explained to what creativity was. I'm like, oh, if you go to the spot and you do something different, it is cool. I'm like, I just had a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To me, that was a very simple way of thinking.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't that I was argumentative, but I was a little bit argumentative because I wanted more for BMX. I wanted more for the team. I didn't, because that's the only direction I wanted to go, And so when it came that time at Etnies, that just wasn't a possibility. And John had to make decisions. And I understand why you made that decision. You know, I wasn't mad about it. It was at the time I was too angry about a lot of things, you know, like that was a decade of like a lot of changing for me, you know, because people had a real problem with forward.
Yeah.
Like now people look at the part and like, this is so amazing. But at the time, Toots didn't even like, I mean, it's arguably the biggest bike video ever to come out. Yeah. You know, I edited half the video and I didn't even go to the premiere. Yeah. Because I knew the vibe.
Yeah.
You know
what? I guess so. Who is the final person that makes that call?
On what?
On him being off.
Me.
So you're saying you got influenced by outside people?
Yeah.
And it was like it wasn't purely a money thing.
No.
It was
it was.
I mean, you had to make
partially a money thing.
Yeah. It made the choice easier.
The Pakistan thing really affected things.
Yeah.
You know, they're looking at numbers.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if shoes are not bringing in the numbers that they think they should, but this is how much we're spending on a rider and trips and videos and stuff, it's got to add up at some point. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, you let one guy go, only person who's mad is maybe you. You let 5 of the dudes of the 10 group of 10 that are best friends, you pissed off the other half of the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I get it. Yeah. You know, and I mean, and
that makes that scenario makes a lot of sense.
Makes sense. Yeah. It makes it to me. And I knew, and John.
And you keep the guy that is the outlier in a sense. So, you know,
I mean, me and John have been friends a long time. So I knew it was a hard thing for John. When he hung up that phone, I was bummed, you know, but I was like, that must have been hard for you, John.
Yeah.
Because he's like, no, I didn't think about it twice.
No,
but I just thought, you know, like I wasn't mad at John, you know.
But that was the first of a lot of Etnies
layoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over the years, of course.
Yeah.
But I've had to let a lot of heavies go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've heard people, you know, I know for a fact, like Morgan didn't take it well. Beswick didn't take it well.
There's people who've taken it better than others.
Yeah. And that's the worst. That's got to be the worst part of the job.
The people that took it the worst were the ones that were doing the least.
Always. Always. Okay. You rarely be criticized, but people doing more.
Please elaborate.
Yeah.
You said the people that were doing the least?
Doing the least.
Doing
the
least.
They
took the worst.
Some people that they'll get to a point where they've, you know, they'll come up, they've been on flow for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as the check comes along, they feel like they made it.
Yeah.
So they can sit back. That's the time you got to push hardest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and keep that position. But it's, you know, at some point it ends, right?
That's work. Yeah. You have a job.
You got a job to do.
Yeah.
So
I think some people it comes naturally too. Like they really do just enjoy it. And this is their everyday, their thing that they're going out. And other people, it does become a real job. I mean, they don't have somebody over their shoulder.
Do you think I don't know, maybe adds more pressure?
It adds more pressure.
You know,
it's a very poignant topic given the Instagram stories of late that I won't mention and stuff like that.
I don't know about those.
But you know, like there is
elaborate, Fudger, elaborate.
Fucking Ricani's obviously been going off on Instagram story and had issues with the, you know, even words that we said on the podcast in regards to him, and it wasn't meant in a negative way, in a malice way towards him, you know. But this is. BMX is a job. And when you have somebody that is in a position that has to look at these things at the end of the month, year, fiscal year, whatever it may be.
It's insane. A lot of these, what these people don't see is like they assume, I'm repping a brand and that product is selling X amount of units. But there's employees, buildings, lights to keep on, insurance. Dude, there's
so much.
Shipping containers that are now 10 times as much as they were before. Like, it's not as easy as people think it is.
Yeah.
The one thing you can tell if you look back through BMX, and that if you really want to know who the guys are, it's the guys who've been around forever, because it's not easy to stay sponsored for a long time.
Yeah.
I also think some of the guys, like when you said that, you know, the people usually doing the least are the most mad, it's because I think those guys, not all the time, they've hit their peak. Like they've done everything they can. They were only ever going to be this good, and they got good enough to get sponsored. But you got dudes like Nathan who were just barely starting, and they got to the point of good enough to be sponsored. And so then it doesn't hit them as hard. Like you got to work hard because they haven't reached their potential yet. Some guys, their potential is getting sponsored, and then they got to work triple hard to make sure they stay there, and that's why it's hard.
It was all like early 2000s and in the 90s, it was a different time for productivity, right? it was either shoot a video or do a magazine article or go to a contest. Now it's you've got to be self-motivated and productive if you want to keep having a presence, like with social media the way it is.
And it's tricky. It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
Because
like I just, yes, a balance, right?
Balance, because you put too much up now, and I have some of my guys who are my favorite riders, and I have to block them. I have to mute them because I don't give a shit what they're doing anymore, because it's just the same thing. It's like they put up a thing where it's like proof of life every day, proof of riding.
Yeah, and it gets harder though.
Hard.
Too,
I
it's
wouldn't
like if you put a lot of that stuff up on Instagram, it's great. You get, people see it right then. But then when you go to actually film something, or you go to to a contest or whatever, it's like, I got to do even more.
Yeah, because everyone's seeing what you've been doing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's made things less impressive because I see it all the time, every day.
Yeah.
Every day I see how good you are. I know. So when I do see a video part, I'm like, yeah.
Come on.
No, it is.
But he balances it well, obviously. Like his stuff is like
you're saying that.
Like you're out cruising, and then your video parts are far different.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of dudes, I think a lot of dudes, they only do the Instagram thing, and then there's never that line where they put their hardest shit out,
exactly.
and they don't have an avenue for a video part, so they just put their hardest shit on Instagram.
Yeah,
and then the video part comes out, and you're like, that's kind of a letdown.
And that's what's also like kind of complicates it, is because like if you have a kid or a guy, or a woman that doesn't know or doesn't have that avenue to put stuff out, then obviously like this is the best avenue to put stuff out.
Yeah.
But then when you go to actually,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't dissing it. I was saying it's a hard thing to juggle, and I'm not sure what the right one is, but some people are definitely taking it wrong.
Having, the riders that grew up with that filmer, that they have that person that can like somehow capture who they are and make it into something that's like meaningful. Those are the ones that rise up, and that's a lucky thing to have, is to have that same caliber of person next to you holding a camera.
I also think that you have to find that balance with putting out social media content too, because if you're putting out stuff, all your hardest stuff on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. I don't freaking know.
If you're tweeting about stuff, and if you're putting out your edit on MySpace.
MySpace.
Yeah.
But if you're doing your hardest stuff and you're giving it away for free, you're devaluing riding, and sponsors are like, well, why am I going to pay you to do that if you're just going to give it away for free anyway? Like, I mean, you like, I always looked at Garrett and him, but how they have levels of riding for different purposes. Like you have your social media content, and if I'm going to do a promo video for a frame or a part, it's a little bit better, and then you save your best shit for a video.
I mean, I talked about it at X Games this week. I'm like, at fucking 11 p.m., 1 a.m. Garrett drop, like it has to be coming soon. Like that video part, like it just feels like it's like the right time right now. And it's like, it's going to be all the shit that you see from him on Instagram. Never gonna. It's like doesn't compare whatsoever.
Yeah,
there's a hard line.
Like I really enjoy when he did it with Christian. Did the what was it?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, that was sick. Like, doing that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible.
That's one with the 180 off that off the balcony above that garage over the railing. That why not?
That's Vegas shit.
That's vague. Yeah, I don't know. It looked like it was out of someone's house, like on like a balcony of someone's house, 180 of a rail into a driveway.
Oh, a half cab?
Or half cab, maybe?
Yeah.
Is that why not?
Yeah.
The fakey 180.
Fakey 180.
Fakey 180.
Yeah. Trick names.
Sorry,
yeah.
But we could jump into, because I know that you have.
Well,
go ahead.
Is it okay if we talk about Ford? Because Ford came out in 2000.
But he wasn't around for that.
That's what I was going to say. Is 2002.
I was on the tail end of the filming.
Okay. All right.
That was
okay.
Oh, really? So you were there for the premiere?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I was there for the tail end of the film. Like,
you remember you were there? Oh no, you weren't there.
No, I was there for Ford.
Not for the premiere.
No. I drove. So me and Dave Perrick, it checked us up into a hotel in Long Beach, and it was me, Dave Perrick, and Utah Ryan editing that video. I edited like 3 or 4 sections.
That's crazy.
And then
you guys were all together in the hotel
in different sections. And
then Taj came out and like
he might have Taj came out for a bit.
Yeah.
And so that was like we were still burning CDs. Remember? So we were in I guess it would have been my F-150 or something maybe. Yeah, my F-150. I was taking a backseat. We were taking Dave to the airport to fly to Binghamton. That thing, and we were burning in my backseat. We were burning the premiere copy.
I mean, that's
burning it on the drive.
It's kind of better than more. better than most.
Normally you're at the premiere.
Yeah.
No, and Dave was insane.
So
tell a Peric story.
He dealt with Dave more.
I mean, I know Dave very well.
Yeah.
And we're like, obviously since Dirty Deeds days, but then we were like almost neighbors. We lived like a few blocks apart.
He didn't log footage or nothing. He just had crates of tapes,
which they're all at my house.
And like
right now,
I've heard stories.
Can you put them on eBay so I can buy them?
Ruben and Taj and whoever. Yeah, there was clips I filmed that I was stoked on that I never saw the light of day. So there's this footage, either at his house or Peric's or somewhere.
Rooftop, bring those to me next time.
I promise I'll deliver those to you.
I'll bring them. I promise I'll give them back. We can shoot photos of all of them, catalog them, and then
for somebody who's OCD,
dude, that's worth
Dave
it.
Was,
that's insane.
For as OCD as
Please.
he was,
no,
he was super disorganized with that shit.
Yeah, Dave? Here's the thing with Dave. Dave,
batshit crazy.
No, he was the thing that made him the video so good was the thing that made him hard to deal with.
For sure.
Right. So like, I mean, when he would edit, it was like, back in the day, it was like, tape to tape before we do tape to tape. But even when we were editing, it was like, no. Like, even though we were editing parts, he would sort of come over and say, I don't want this like this. And like, it would be like, take one frame off this. One frame, frame to frame, different, like in a blend. Like, it was so specific. You know what I mean? Yeah. Dave, you can say what you want about Dave, but like, Dave is the reason why some people are legends in people's
100%.
Yeah. When we did Dirty Deeds, I have an entire amount of ramp footage for an entire ramp part. He put like zero. Didn't put any of them in except a couple contest clips. Yeah. But like, he's like, no, you're going to be better off as people seeing you as a street rider. Yeah. And that was him. That was his vision. It changed. No, for sure. If my part would have been bled in with a bunch of like half-ass ramp shit, it'd been like, it would have sucked. You know what I mean? It would have been a totally
different. You feel like he's like the almost classic, creative mind.
Yeah. Yes. He had a vision for things that other people couldn't see. Mm-hmm. I started seeing it once he started filming Nowhere Fast because I forgot that I had a part in Nowhere Fast, but I wasn't originally. So I just hung out with everyone. And so I got to be camera side a lot more. Mm-hmm. And I could see what he was doing. Mm-hmm. Like, which I couldn't see it before.
When there's like, when you recognize the genius, you put up with the idiot part, like one of those things.
Dave, he was,
so when
you look at something like Ford, like you see an amazing talent there. Like, he's the dude that could have been the BMXer that transcended BMX and got into bigger things, but just because
like Joe did.
Yeah. But because of who he is and his personality, he's
can't do it.
He can't do it. He couldn't function.
Yeah.
So Forward, what do you want to know about Forward?
I want to know when you're going to deliver the tapes.
Never. Dave entrusted me with these. I know. Never betray him.
All right. Can I come to your house?
I got a question for you. What song did my Dirty Deeds? I had a Pennywise song.
You had a part in Dirty Deeds.
Yeah, you had a Pennywise song.
What was it? Which song was it? I can't fucking remember.
It was off.
Yeah, you can leave. Yeah, there's no rules.
Are you leaving?
Can I leave?
Oh, you got to leave?
No.
Oh, you got to use the restroom?
Yeah, let's pause it then real quick because I'm going to check on my kid.
Yeah.
I'm going to pee as well. People always say like, what was the best time in BMX? I'm like, now.
Well,
it's now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
for everybody. It's
for everybody. It's when they were having the most fun.
Yeah. Or at the peak of their
or doing the thing they wanted when they were doing exactly what they wanted to do. Yeah. It's always that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that doesn't mean it was better then. It just means it was better for them then.
Yeah. Yeah. I just say, whenever people say that, I'm like, man, there's so many kids right now that are just having the best time in their lives riding BMX and they love it just as much as you did.
Yeah, it's the same because they don't know any different either.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Before we play this part, John was talking about what's his song Dirty Deeds. I wanted just to get, we're going to jump back just a second, but to give you an idea on John's ability to ride, which I can look up anything. Sometime around 93, 94, I think it was 94, there was a contest in Vegas and we all went, all the climber, Moeller, trainer, me, Akabach. Mm-hmm. It's where I met TJ Lavin. Yep. Just look up the folder I gave you.
Oh, the folder. Sorry, I forgot.
It was a part contest in Vegas and Povah won. Yeah. Povah beat us all.
Well, that's
in one of these in rooftops and Jesus.
I said rooftop assets. Come on, dude. That's there you go.
This is that right. So
here, let me open these.
Bow and arrow. Look at that. That was terrible.
Let's see. Just some of these.
Just open them.
Some of these photos. This is just this looks.
That's
like, here's John landing on his.
That's a sick hand plant though.
Breakdancing.
Yeah. These was the old Irwindale skate park, but that's the old.
This is Vegas stuff.
That is McKenny's ramp.
That's
McKenny's.
That was a Taj frame, and I hate to say it, but I hated that freaking frame.
Is that a whoa?
And so that's the contest, and that's.
I was trying to see if there was an America?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I was
For a while, Etnies was.
yeah, Rooftop hooked it up.
Okay.
Yeah, but for a while, Etnies, there was an America brand.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyways, John had some. This was Kansas City contest, but this was the Vegas contest here.
Yeah.
And John won that contest.
That's a flip over spine? That's like a 4-foot spine.
It was a
attached.
lip to landing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there, yeah.
Oh, I see the landing now. Okay.
But John was doing.
Ripping it,
Yeah,
like
he was-
roasting it.
That's not me.
That's
Povah, when was the last time you did a backflip?
I don't know who that is.
The ice picks are not him?
A
no,
month
that's
and a
not
half
him.
ago?
Wrong way.
Oh.
Sorry.
Shut up.
Yeah, Woodward.
What?
Well, because I was building Woodward. I mean, not on a real jump.
It's just those two.
Yeah,
Then.
Did you film it?
Yeah, that's fine.
No, I don't film shit.
Dude.
I have a little bit of footage, John.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, Jesus.
What did you do?
Like
What did you do the flip
current
on?
footage?
No,
On-
At Woodward.
I have all this
onto
stuff.
what?
Airbag.
Airbag. That's it.
The last time me and
That's
John rode
still
together was a
counting?
pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
And I
couple
was
years
so-
ago.
I
It was like
felt-
3 years ago.
I felt so uncomfortable on my bike.
Yeah, that's how I feel now.
I've been feeling better lately.
Good.
All right, let's watch Dirty Deeds.
Yeah, Dirty Deeds.
The
whole video?
Nah, just some John's. I mean, we could be here. Whoa, what happened?
Yeah.
But it's,
Let's see if I can.
it probably sucks to watch. That's that Vegas park.
Yeah.
That's me.
Oh,
That is you, huh?
Yeah.
2.5, 3.
Yeah, I was
The
trying-
boy.
Trying to be a double.
The boy.
What?
That you?
Nope.
No, that was Mike
This is
Arkerbark.
our-
It should.
Oh
clip back
my
in here.
This is our old ramp.
I was there that
That
day.
was built over an open swimming pool. A
Yeah,
pool filled with
yeah.
water is built over it.
Really?
The crash on it wasn't that bad because it flexed a lot.
Oh, what's
So
the
it was
trainer saying here?
He looked like he smashed his
He's
face.
telling me to stop being a pussy.
And these are the Vans ramps, Danny Hubbard's ramps set up at Vans.
Yeah. I got that helmet from Rick Thorne.
You know what's funny is I remember watching this like part for the first time.
Oh,
like
gross.
that was sick.
Still better than I can do them.
That was heavy as fuck frame. Case.
Is that the mall that Back to the Future was?
No,
in?
that was Vans.
No, that's Plenty Hills.
This
This is a Vans.
That's a
The Vans warehouse where they made the shoes.
Oh,
Yep.
Ooh,
The old
Baker
POW
Feeds
house.
the twos.
Yeah, that ramp was sick.
Yeah, it was.
It was such good times.
Did you get stuff from 90?
Yep.
They're back now, right?
Yeah, Kevin Staub's doing stuff.
what is the clothing
90 was a
company?
clothing
Yeah,
company.
Kevin Staub, skateboarder. His brother ran a clothing brand. That's that part.
Vegas Park. Yeah.
How much do you think that bike weighs? 40 pounds?
Probably 40 some pounds.
Yeah, probably 40.
Double.
You know, everyone
Almost
exaggerates
double.
it online, but but
Yeah.
it's probably 40 pounds. That's that photo we just looked at.
Yeah.
I have not seen this footage.
Ice pick. You haven't seen it. I melted it into my brain.
Downside, there was a downside ice pick.
Yeah,
bonk.
you were only just doing that back then.
Yeah. And then Jay did one on a spine and it blew up.
Oh, like he did one, and then it was like people were like, "Oh, that's something that we should do."
Yeah,
Yeah, John was doing them like one of the first one I ever
Crazy.
seen.
that's trainer. Yeah.
Um,
That was Dirty Deeds.
Dirty Deeds.
That's probably my own. I had a little bit in a S&M video.
Which one? Wasn't 44 something, was it?
Might have been Feel My Leg Muscles or something.
Oh, it was before that.
There was,
Okay.
I had some vert riding in there.
Feel my leg muscles. I'm a racer.
I've never heard.
Yeah, Feel
No,
My
you never heard of that
Yeah.
one? That's a great video name, isn't it? Yeah. Hot dogs who can't read. They've had some great
Yeah,
ones over the
S&M
years.
always had the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of on flow from S&M for a bit, and because I live with Chris, and
Yeah.
helped design some frames. Like Keith Trainer's menstrual cycle, I designed that frame.
I had one.
Yeah, the frame was sick.
Yeah.
His
Menstruals.
brain was the Mitch.
But
You've always been. What's that? You never heard of that?
You know what's
Okay.
very funny about that is I had that and my mom was like, "Do you know what that means?" And I was like, "Nope."
I got kicked.
No, but it's sick.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I had to get my mom to bring me a new shirt because I wore it the second day of high school,
Yeah.
and it's a menstrual cycle shirt, and they made me take it off.
Did you know what it meant?
Yeah, but at the time it was the second day in a row because at some point I think like Props or somebody made like Subway looking shirts and said sex toy, and I wore that the first day. So I was like, F these guys, and I wore that the second day. And my mom 2 days in a row had to bring me a t-shirt.
That's pretty fun.
But John, you've always sort of also been very mechanical. So
Yeah.
you've always designed parts
Mhm.
and bikes like that. And why don't you think you ever went into doing that for a company?
Seemed like it was never going to make any money.
There. Fair enough.
Not about money, but it was like,
Yeah.
I was always around other people that could like S&M or somebody or Coalition or whatever. I was friends with everybody and I just like contributing.
Yeah. Yeah. You had part of Coalition, huh?
We didn't really, we kind of glazed over this, but at what point did you decide or realize you weren't going to be a pro? Like you weren't going to be going to all the contests and being the rider, that you switched to being the other end?
I don't know if it was a conscious thing. It was just opportunities. Like I never viewed myself. I always thought I'd always have a job. I never thought that I would ever make any money or a living from riding bikes. I just didn't think that was a thing. So I always had jobs, and just it was how I'm wired. Just my dad, he was always kind of a laborer kind of guy. I enjoyed riding, but it was always just a hobby to me.
True or false? You were the first person to do an ice pick down a rail.
Oh, that is true.
That's true. No, it's not true.
Don't lie.
See, I've heard him say both.
It's not true.
Yeah.
Trainer did it, right?
Trainer did it first.
You got it on camera.
I got it on camera first.
It was a pool rail.
And then you did it.
Empty pool.
Huh?
And then you did it?
Me and Trainer learned it the same day.
Okay. All right.
He went back to film it or something, and he smashed his face. He caught the upright.
Mm-hmm.
He showed him in my house with teeth missing.
You seen his tooth?
Yeah.
Jagged one?
Oh, that's still the same one?
It scared him from doing it again.
Yeah.
So come time of filming the video, The Ultimate Weekend, which Steve Emig made in 1990.
Okay. The Ultimate Weekend.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah,
put
it's
that
online.
video? I mean, I know Steve Emig, but what is it? Just a
look for it.
it's just a private video, like
Yeah,
it was a video
not
out.
but no, like not like a company video.
No,
Okay.
it was him, just an independent project.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Keith,
The White Bear.
White Bear. Yeah.
Oh, Sluggo. Keith got scared of doing it. It freaked him out a little bit, so I went and did it and got it on film.
Of course, Shad has it.
And I remember the discussion.
So you're the first one to have it on film.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
Yeah.
I know that Psycho apparently did them, but I don't think I personally didn't hear about it or know about it.
Never seen this video.
We had never seen Keith and I had never seen rails before. So we heard.
Oh, that's that fly out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was him.
So we.
Oh, that was Povah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing the shitty no-hander.
That was a good no-hander. You need to be nice to yourself, John.
That
was fine.
Yeah.
It was
you
fine.
should tell. I could tell by his sleeveless shirt.
You can tell by all those muscles glistening.
Yeah. So Keith and I, we wrote together all the time. Like at some point I stopped working and he didn't have a job. So we just wrote all the time.
Yeah, bud.
What up, dude?
What you need?
You guys need something?
You want to come
on in?
You want to come and hug me?
Do you want a hug too, Luna?
All right, come give me a hug. You're the cutest thing ever, dude.
Oh,
Thank you, bud.
Dang, that hat's sweet.
That's a cool hat,
I
right?
know, I do like that hat. That's cool.
Yeah.
You having fun? Okay. Don't light any fires.
That's cool.
Don't burn the house down.
Yeah,
What was that?
that's pretty
saying?
awesome, right?
What was that?
And I'd like to preemptively give Nate a congrats on his new baby boy.
yeah.
By the time
Yeah.
this video
Any
comes
day.
out,
By
yeah,
the time this
Any
podcast
day.
is over.
yeah. I was like, your phone's not.
That's why I have my phone right here.
I was like, his phone's not. I said it when you walked in. Your phone's not going to be on silent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
All right.
Thanks, dude.
So Keith and I, we wrote together all the time, and we like the talk of handrails came up, and we'd never seen anybody do it, and we couldn't figure out how to go down a rail. Like if you're pointing down a rail on both pegs, or we thought people were doing sprocket grinds down rails.
Yeah.
We couldn't physically fathom how it would work. So we were like, well, you must go down horizontal. Like it must be only on the back peg. So that was what we learned because we hadn't seen anybody do it.
That's amazing.
But Hoffman had done,
We had,
but you didn't know.
You can't see it. There's nowhere to see it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
we hadn't seen
But I was just wondering if, at that time, he had done it, but you just hadn't seen it.
possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we still just the only person that we knew of that was potentially doing was this is us learning rails. Was Chris Day.
Clearly.
This is Huntington Beach.
Yeah. This is how
That's
a lot of people
cool.
learn rails.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sal had an ice pick into the sand in BMX Plus.
Yeah.
Oh, who's that?
Alan Valek.
It actually startled her.
So we only Chris Day, a flatlander who actually was really good on vert. And,
Ooh. Dope.
yeah. So that's Dan Hubbard right there.
Sure.
Todd Anderson.
Wow.
Jeff
That
Carter.
was sick.
Yeah,
Jeff Carter. He's the first dude after Jose Yanez to do backflips.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, dude. Me and Brian went to see a van show at the local van shop.
Yeah.
and the ramp had a little crack in it. We're ready to go see a backflip.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it because the ramp had a crack in it.
Oh, he was.
And it bummed us out so much. I had just learned no-handed 360s.
Yep.
I was so bummed that I never did another one again. I was so bummed riding that day that and I've never done one since.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So Jeff Cotter ruined my no-handed 360s.
That's me.
Thanks, Jeff.
Is this you?
Is that me? No, that's not me.
No,
Yeah, I was
look at
gonna
the size
say-
of his arms. They're tiny.
yeah,
That's Magnolia jumps, though.
yeah,
That was like the big jump spot before Chico's around the corner.
yeah. That's right by PCH.
Oh, you could see
That's true. Yeah.
the refineries.
Yeah.
Like in the background there. Is that you, Povah? Just
No.
joking.
Were you guys like stretching and stuff where you ride?
No, the trainer
was sick.
He's
dude.
so stylish.
Yeah.
Carter, he owned Black Market Bikes.
Oh, like that, the mountain bike
Oh.
company now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Dude, fun times, man. Good times.
I was trying to, I was just, that's
Yeah,
Povah.
you probably be able to.
That's you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's it's a blood banks, right?
Yep.
Oh,
Good times.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Wait, yeah, I know that. That spot's still there.
it's in Westminster.
Yeah.
It's like off. Yeah,
Isn't it
Uh-huh.
Garden Grove?
yeah.
It's good times.
Why do we call
I've
it
been
blood
there
banks?
with you.
No clue.
That foo?
Sorry.
Was that foo?
What?
No, I'm just
No.
joking.
Oh.
That was kind of racist.
There.
Oh, jeez.
Look at this ramp, dude.
Dude, the
How
ramp.
sick this ramp.
They both the backyard ramps, like that
Whose
left
ramp was
hand, that
this?
left hand one with
That's
the hip
Jeff
and
Emmett.
stuff. Oh, okay.
Steve Emick.
Steve
Steve
Emmett.
Emmett,
Sorry.
yeah.
Jeff Emmett's the motocrosser.
I think it was. There was some skaters in San Diego, and Craig Campbell was there, and Jess, and they lived there for a bit. I can't remember whose ramp it was though.
Wild
This
though.
video's
Yeah.
wild. Video's wild.
It's a good video.
I kind of want to watch it. Yeah.
It's actually a good theme. Like the ultimate weekend,
There's
like
Bubba.
the ultimate weekend of like going away with
There
your
he is.
friends and just
Mhm.
like there's a spot here where we go down to Tijuana skate park and it was
Those are
fun.
probably when the photos were taken right there. That's the same outfit. It is.
Probably.
It's the same outfit you're wearing in those photos.
Well, it's because
And there was a photographer there.
because the days are supposed to be sequential. Like they're supposed to be like Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Oh,
Even though it's filmed-
I never picked that up.
But even though it was filmed over a period of time.
Oh.
So we had to wear the same outfit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was a concept video.
Yes.
Hmm.
It was way ahead of his time.
Clearly.
Where is it? Do you know where the ice pick is? Probably.
No, I've seen this
Oh,
video
yeah.
25.
Yeah,
or
I
30
know.
years.
It's 40 minutes. So, I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to be cutting.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah,
Nude
dude.
bowl
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Blyther ripping it.
Blythe-
before
Blythe
it was all.
the man.
There used to be a whole structure
Yeah.
right there, but it's all gone now.
Yeah. That's the structure right there.
You know, the
Thanks.
first person I ever rode a pool with was Blyther.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I didn't know like what it was, like in the sense of like the concept, you know, and he was doing Smiths on the deep end of this pool. And I was like, this thing's impossible to
Oh, he
ride.
did disasters
it was
and everything.
fucking
Like, that
insane.
pool was so
You
stupid.
probably don't remember this. This is the first pool I ever rode with you.
Probably.
So Povah took me here early 90s, and it was like there was like 30 skaters there,
Yeah, yeah.
and no one wanted to drop in. And I dropped in and tried to foo-fanoo the deep end, and it slipped the ice and chipped the coping. And I was like 14 years old.
And that chip is
15.
still in there to
Yeah,
this
dude.
day.
And you can just hear it go, "Arrgh." And that's why skaters hate bike riders.
Yeah.
Blythe of Blythe.
You're the reason.
I'm the
Yeah,
reason.
right? Yeah.
I was there.
Thanks, Mike.
J540 that pool.
J548.
Yeah, he did. I remember hearing about this.
What video is that in?
Didn't he?
I don't know.
Jinx
didn't
video?
He 540 the Paula pool too.
I don't know.
Oh, no,
I don't know.
Or am I
I
blanking
never
it
heard
on
that.
somebody?
Yeah.
He ground around the coping. How
Mhm.
he ground around that as well. Like DJ killed it there.
That pool is not a good pool. Like the stairs are terrible. That
Oh, yeah.
deep end's not
Yeah,
great.
That's me right there.
That deep end's not great.
No,
No.
it's a
It's
bigger
not-
deep. It's a bigger deep end than you think, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's sections that are okay, but
Yep.
there's definitely pools that are much
kinda
more friendly
better.
than that one.
It's like more like the experience. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, for
like
sure.
it's so
Yeah.
you're like there and it's like
But you,
this-
what I mean is,
whoa.
you see this stuff and you think this must be
Yeah.
a perfect ramp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks.
Yeah, when you see Blythe ride it, you think it's amazing because he's so good and smooth. And
Yeah, the same day that I rode the pool with Blyther, I went to Baldy for the first time ever, and Blyther was just cruising. And this is like, 10 years after Blyther was ever a pro
Yeah, yeah.
rider. You know, like he was like literally looked like
he's my truck.
Is that
a
your truck?
dad.
Is that your truck?
It's a long shot of the middle finger there.
Is that your girlfriend? Is that the coupon kind?
Yeah, yeah.
10 seconds of the middle finger.
That pool's got to be coming up, huh?
I don't know.
Somewhere right
Oh,
there.
here it is.
There it
Section.
is. Nice.
That pool's fun.
Is that the no? It's not.
Regional skate park.
Is that the Suicidal Tendencies Pool?
No.
Look at that.
So lame.
I thought that was the deep end for a second until you landed.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
Get it.
Boom. Holy. How many times did you do it?
That's
dude?
once.
One and done.
He zoomed in to make it feel like a different angle.
One and done.
Rocket.
That's sick though. That's like,
Oh, and then here's the
I
first
mean-
one of the first double pegs you saw on film. That was Keith
Yep.
at the Civic Center, Santa Ana
Yep.
Civic Center,
Oh, that's Santa Ana.
which is just wild.
let's see. Is there any audio?
Train is amazing.
Is that spot still there?
They,
I think the banks are gone.
The banks are
the
gone.
big banks are
the
gone.
Civic. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
The
yeah.
small ones are
Yeah.
still there.
I mean, this was the first one on film, I think, that people had seen, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Which is weird because that's the first one backwards rail that's on film too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, huh? Who was that?
Keith Trainer.
Me.
Oh, backwards row?
Backwards, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I broke my teeth.
He's so,
That's how I broke my teeth.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
'cause
so
on the
Jersey.
ice. Yeah, that's sick.
Look at that. Just
Well, I'm
hyped.
glad I clicked through that.
Just
That's,
hyped.
I've never seen that clip. I've always
Yeah.
talked to you about that.
Yeah.
And it's cool. Yeah, because I heard both versions. I've heard you say yes, and then I've heard you say no. You know, like in the
Well,
sense
on
of like,
film.
yeah, the context is
Yeah.
important. So that's cool. That's
Well,
awesome.
I'm glad we're both finally getting answers on what the truth is today.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
One open book.
Except for the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to get those people in here.
What about what are the glory days of Etnies? I guess is there like the peak time period where you're like, I'm killing it at my job, the team is epic, like
Team wise, it was.
Careful.
Rooftop's gone already. This is great.
As soon as Rooftop was gone, awesome. But periodically, it's had its eras, but they've all been like respectively amazing.
Yeah.
Jamie's era was amazing. Like Morgan, that was a different time when Mike was there with all those Ruben and Taj and that amazing, like legendary team.
Mm-hmm.
It's all been. Usually, it comes down to sales, whether it's doing better or not. Like if things aren't financially great, then we're doing less, we're traveling less, we got less resources. It's just
How I guess well
I guess part of that is like it also because of Etnies, I believe, has had such an impact on BMX
100%.
that all those guys doing good affects the rest of the industry so much.
Mhm.
You know, it affects because all those guys are all over the country. It affects all those scenes so much because those guys, a lot of times one person will hold up a scene, you know?
Yeah.
And so if Etnies paying all these dudes, it makes them be able to do all these other trips with other guys and other companies and these videos come out. And then when it's not, I feel like when it's not doing well, when a couple brands aren't doing, when everything's done well, I think there's a few brands contribute so much by all the riders they touch that it really makes the industry feel like it's not doing good.
Mhm.
I had this
Yeah.
discussion with Dak the other day. He's like, you know, it seems like Etnies is kind of quiet now. Like he's like, you know, we need them to be healthy because if Vans is the only brand around, it appears the industry is not doing great.
Mhm.
You know, like we need other brands
You do.
to hold each other up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a healthy sense of competition too.
Yeah.
If you're at the top of the mountain and you're the only one there, it's like
It's no reason to make anything better.
yeah, you're like,
And
oh,
there's
I'm
only
just gonna cruise.
And there's only
Yeah.
one
You
way
know?
to go when
Yeah.
you're at the top.
Yeah, exactly. So
Back to painting cars.
you have to chop off the ponytail
Coming any
and
day
do a
now.
music
Yeah.
video. Yeah.
But what about, I mean,
Well-
let's talk about it because I
well,
know, sorry, go ahead.
What I was going to ask is like, how much of sales is in your control? You know, like,
Zero.
you know what I mean? Like there's got to be stuff that you are on the line for in the sense of marketing and, you know, Ford and Grounded doing well and all this stuff. And it plumps up sales and it makes the brand look great. And then there's stuff like PacSun dropping shoes.
There's enough people in place that everyone is, or at the time, there's enough people in place doing their respective jobs. Like I could focus on just the team, making sure that they were getting what they needed and we were doing cool projects and promo videos and all that stuff. The sales end of it, that's kind of out of my control.
Yeah.
I have no I have no say in that.
Well, it sucks to be like the victim of that, though, in a sense.
Yeah,
like,
no, always.
You know.
Well, and then this is the weird thing for most brands. I mean, speaking personally, like it always seems that when there's money to be cut, it's always from the marketing end of things.
Mm-hmm.
The visibility, the part that makes you your brand identity is the first place they take away from, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
Because without any of that, nobody knows you're there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always weird to me that was the first thing that goes away because it's unquantifiable. When you do an ad in a magazine or on a website, you don't know what sales you're getting from that.
Yeah. Promo code.
It's a shot in the dark. It's well, yeah, I mean, you can do promo codes, but it still doesn't equate.
Yeah.
There's still so many unforeseeables.
Yeah. I mean, ads don't necessarily dictate direct sales in the moment, you know,
and
like
they try and monetize like click-throughs and this, that, and the other. And it's, you know, you're only getting a portion of how far it could reach.
Yeah.
There's no real way of quantifying it.
Yeah.
Like you know, pay Nathan Williams X amount of dollars and he does a video and like you're pissing in the wind.
Yeah.
You hope it has an impact, but if you're not doing it, then you don't have a presence.
Yeah.
So you've got to continually do it.
Yeah. It's got to be a constant in a sense. Yeah. And when, I mean, that's, you know, being in the magazine, whatever media industry, they're like, oh yeah, we're having a financial crisis. I'm like, well, fuck me. You know, I'm first one to go, you know, that's fine. You know, and that's the way it goes. And just like in the same sense, I'm so used to it now. I'm like, all right, yeah, you're piecing, like, well, I'll hit you up in like 8 months. Hopefully things change, you know, like stuff like that, you know? And, I guess I feel like you've had, you know, there was a time period where you weren't working for Etnies.
Yep.
And then you went back.
So the long and short of it, like in the 16 and a half years I was there, I had 8 or 9 different brand directors, and each one came in and tried to put the stamp on the brand to do something different. And whether it be starting a rally team or moto or whatever.
Sponsoring Will Smith's son.
Whatever. Yeah.
Did they do that?
I don't know. I don't think so, but
I thought that was a thing.
They did a bunch of stuff.
I'm pretty sure that was a thing. I wouldn't fabricate that out of nowhere, but
I'll take your word for it.
All right, fair enough.
But
he remembers.
I don't remember shit. I'm old. I don't remember much of anything.
No, I remember it was like it was a guy that came in and he like flip-flopped. And this happens all the time where they're like, hey, we've been going this way and now I'm here and we're going to do something revolutionary and we're going to go this way.
So essentially, I mean, this is one dude that I can say was completely wrong for the job, and they'd probably admit it as well. He was one of those dudes, you look on his job profile on LinkedIn, he only lasted 2 years at each job.
Yeah. Who was it?
This guy named Braden.
Okay.
Braden Dahl.
I wasn't around for that one.
No, you
get fucked. I'm sorry.
Essentially.
Well, I was just wondering if it was the other one.
Imagine he's just listening.
Yeah, I hope so. But he pulled the wool over their eyes, and he had the gift of the gab. And, he now works at a dog collar company.
At a dog collar company.
Yeah. Dog collar company.
Congrats.
The last time I checked, anyway.
Yeah.
But he came in, and he's like, we're gonna do the lifestyle thing, and like that's such a ambiguous, vague term. Like lifestyle is skateboarding and BMX.
That's what we're doing now.
Let's keep doing that.
Yeah.
But instead, he pulled all his money out, and there was a bunch of us, Manzuri, and we were all like, yeah, no, that's the wrong thing to do. That's the wrong thing to do. And he just, when there was money to be cut, because we were the most vocal ones about not agreeing with him, I was first to go.
Yeah.
What year was that?
2018.
So you, from the time you originally got hired to 2018, you were on the whole time?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then mid-COVID, they asked me to come back.
And what'd that look like?
Part-time. Just essentially just chiming in here or there. Like, Etnies is not as big as people think it is. It's pretty small now. Not like it's not nowhere near as big as the Pack Sundays. So it's, they have a lot of contractors rather than full-time employees. And so I just kind of essentially did social media talk to, you kind of become customer service at some point because you're answering questions on social media. Kind of communicating with the team on some level, trying to like be the mediator, because like obviously it's awkward for Nathan to talk to people that he doesn't know or don't really are not in his world. So I was that mediator, but I wasn't like full-time in there doing budgets and spreadsheets and expense reports. I didn't have to do any of that anymore. I didn't have to go to the office.
So kind of
I couldn't because of COVID.
some of the a lot of the good stuff and not so much of the bad stuff.
Yeah.
And you had freedom.
Yeah. To still go and build ramps. But at some point they did ask me to come back full-time, but because of my previous experience with being let go, I'm like, this could happen again. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. So I'm like, I'll just keep it as it is.
Yeah.
I'll just do the part-time thing.
Yeah.
And then in January, they were like, okay, we're not re-signing you.
Yeah.
Did they replace you with someone else, or or was that just because that position was no longer needed?
There's someone doing it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fred, who's great.
Yeah. Fred used to work at Transworld. Fred's a good guy. He's definitely in tune.
Yeah. I spoke to him the other day.
multiple sports. Like I don't know what's his background.
He's Dutch. Is that right?
Dutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say you used to work at Transworld?
He used to work at Transworld. Yeah. That's where I met him first.
Yeah.
So
I think skateboarding's his background, but he's really into mountain biking and.
Yeah. He's always been a fan of BMX and stuff. He was always involved.
Yeah, I mean, he admits he doesn't know as much about BMX, but
yeah. I mean, it's
that's
hard.
okay though.
You can't compared to somebody who has been doing it for 35 years.
There's also a difference between someone who doesn't like it and doesn't know as much.
Yeah.
One is much better than the other.
Yeah.
How was riding for Etnies? When did you start riding for Etnies?
I'm terrible with years and all that, but it was 2007 or no. Yeah, 2007.
So that's where my money went.
Were you on the
Just kidding.
No. I was riding for that company called Below.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one morning, I remember I was in Austin, woke up to a phone call like, yeah, we're no longer a company. And then I think Walter talked to you. Something.
Maybe, or Corey or somebody.
Yeah.
And so you've been on since then?
Yeah.
Well, I've been on the team a long time.
I know. Time flies.
You've had shoes or shoe colorways? Is that how that works now?
Colorways.
Jameson
Colorways, yeah.
Over the years, they stopped making shoes, right? Just do colorways now?
Different styles of the shoes, but
okay. But so the Jameson's not your signature shoe?
No.
They
had
don't do signature shoes anymore, right?
What's that?
They don't really do signature shoes anymore. They just do signature colorways.
Maybe for some of the skate guys. I'm not real
Yeah.
sure. Like Jocelyn.
Sheckler and Jocelyn have shoes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Jocelyn is called the Jocelyn, but Sheckler's is called the Estrella.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the Jameson connection is just random?
It is just random. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The skate team manager was also called Jameson.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. I literally just thought it was like.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I thought it was
like the
dog name.
No.
It was kind of like Taj Roscoe kind of connection.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Is that a colorway of the Jameson?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, that's why I was like, oh, like.
You named it after your dog.
Well, like, I mean, I figured maybe sometimes they like,
there's
as they market stuff like, hey, this is Nathan's shoe. Now it's called a Jameson, and it's just like, and then it just becomes a shoe, like at a point where it's not necessarily, it doesn't need to be plumped as Nathan's shoe at every single place they sell it, so, but.
Has Etnies, since you've been on, what is Povah involvement for you? Like, how has that made a difference?
Being gone or
just being gone now that you can finally live your fucking life.
He's happy.
No, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like how much
throughout the years? Like
throughout the years, like how much has Povah been the point of contact to make things happen?
I mean, for me, I'll say for me, Etnies has been Povah.
Got it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I've had, I have a relationship with people over there, but it's always been Povah. Like, always dealt with Povah. Just my association with Etnies, I feel like throughout the years has always been kind of because of Povah, and going back to all of those quotes that you have from all those guys, like just that is so true. I mean, just how attentive. I don't know.
It's true.
It's just sick. It's like he's just so down for everything. He's a good friend. He's a good boss, whatever you want to call it, you know.
I mean, everyone feels this way, John. Here's what Ruben said.
Oh, shit.
He's like a saint in BMX, always helping people in many ways.
Yeah.
Oh. Thanks, Ruben.
You know, so here's the thing, though, is like Povah's Instagram name used to be Salty Bastard.
Yeah.
And it's like he is a salty bastard, but just like with the heart.
I will attest to the whole, like, because I remember the first time I met you, I thought you hated me. I just thought you didn't like me.
I've heard,
you know, but
I've
then
heard
I hear that from anyone that I'm friends with that meets you, and they're like, I don't know if he likes me or not, you know. Pretty fun.
That works to my advantage sometimes. There's people I don't want to talk to, so they think I'm
I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. I think it's just.
But is that because you grew up in a generation where everyone's so scared to hurt everyone's feelings? Like they're overly nice?
He loves this. He loves this.
Well, no, it makes good
talk line.
It makes good conversation.
Your generation's weak.
No, it's not that. It's just, we were talking earlier, like,
no,
it's just every generation is so different that he comes from so many generations of bike riding and he's been around, but maybe the way he just deals with people has been the same the whole time. You know, so, but sometimes
I think you have a drier personality, and that's not a bad thing at all. It's, you know, it's a good thing. I'm sure at times.
Dry,
like,
no personality.
Dry,
probably more
dry is the personality.
Dry to none to dry.
None to dry.
None to dry.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I feel like showering him with the same things, but it's like he has the persona of being a hard ass. But then the reality is he cares about everybody, and he cares. You know, like
I don't see him as being a hard ass at all.
No,
not at all. Like when I eat salty bastard, I'm like, it's just John. It's not salty.
Mm-hmm.
He's just was just one of us.
Yeah.
You know, but like he doesn't at all seem like a hard ass to me because I guess for me as a young kid, he was always just so helpful.
Yeah.
That didn't matter what he said because you were always like, well, it doesn't matter what John says. He's going to be here in 20 minutes and he's going to fix everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if people think that about you just because you're like a very real person, you know, like there's no bullshit. And so if there's something that you disagree with or you don't like, you'll say it. And I think that probably rubs.
Totally.
People, or it like kind of shocks people.
Yeah. I think it maybe the honesty hits people, but
I think lately too, we live in a time when everyone needs to agree with each other. Like even me and Dak, I said something to Dak the other day where I think nollies are the ugliest trick ever. I just think they're ugly. And he like got offended by it. And I was like, who cares if I think they're ugly? And he's like, oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because if we all thought everything looked good, we'd all do the same stuff.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean? So like, who cares if I think it looks ugly?
Yeah.
Like,
that's my opinion.
I also don't like pasta's my least favorite food. Should you be mad at it? Do you know what I'm saying? No, look at it.
Now I'm offended.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, who cares?
Yeah.
And I think John is from a time when you were allowed to not like things or like them, and we could disagree, and then it didn't matter.
Yeah, we still go about our day and get along.
Yeah, but it wasn't even a thought that was something that would cause an issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But I think that's what.
I mean, look at his hair the entire career. I'm like, this is stupid. But but
you've had long hair for?
Well, I go between long hair and then just shave my head because I get sick of it, and then I'll grow it back.
I don't think I've ever seen you with short hair.
No, it's been a while.
Always stupid.
Always
stupid.
See, that's what friends do. That's what friends do. Friends just give each other shit.
Yeah.
But now,
I think you're.
So Etnies is then that you let you go earlier this year.
Yeah, January they just didn't resign a contract.
Yeah.
So I was year to year contract.
And you were back to building ramps.
Yep.
Always back to building ramps.
Yeah, I mean just because of what I know. Like, yeah.
Are you okay with that?
I'd rather be doing other things. I'm not 25 anymore. It physically takes it out of you. And it's not like they're not 8-hour days either. They're like long days and long weeks. We just got done with a 5 or 6 month stint in Woodward West. It was, 10-hour days, 6 days a week.
5 months.
5 straight months. I came home 2 times.
I can't even be at Woodward for a week when we get to do whatever I want.
Yeah. And what do you do in Tehachapi on your day off?
Drink beer.
Ice bath.
Sleep.
Ice bath. Drink beer.
We'd ride on Sundays. Me and my friend Craig would ride bikes on Sundays if the weather was nice. Because when we first got there, it was 2 feet of snow.
Yeah.
And then we had like one of the wettest winters ever. So it was the bowl outside was filled, and the roof leaks like a sieve.
So you're building. They left the hangar. The hangar is the same, right?
We resheeted the boss, like Aaron Bostrom and myself and
Nutter.
Craig Nutter helped with some parkour stuff.
Mhm.
We resheeted the hangar with all new skate light, like a new grippy skate light called Traction, so it's not slippery anymore. And then we also, where the gymnastics building is, all the gymnastics is gone, no more gymnastics. We built this thing called the Progression Center. It's like a lot of smaller stuff for kids to learn on. There's like a 80-foot wide mini ramp. And
How tall?
Goes from like 5 feet down to 3 feet.
That's cool.
Wild.
Yeah, it's got a foam pit on one end.
A lot of little pump track stuff, right?
No,
No.
the pump track we did a few years ago. The
Oh,
concrete
okay. All right.
Did they put like, I don't understand why Woodward doesn't put in like a 7-foot resi quarter pipe.
one. Oh, I agree.
I don't know why. Like
Yeah.
just a quarter pipe that you can do tricks on.
Oh, yeah.
that
What
isn't
I mean,
burst.
East has it.
Does
Yeah.
it? Do they?
Yeah. Yeah, East has it, like 8
Yeah,
foot
East
or
does
whatever.
have it.
It's
Yeah.
baffling that isn't like
Yeah.
the first thing that goes in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Wha-
interesting. Yeah.
Why do you think you haven't left BMX in some way or another?
It keeps dragging me back in.
Or why hasn't BMX kicked you out?
I
Mm.
Because
wouldn't- I
people
would-
try to stick around and they
Mm.
can't.
I wouldn't blame it if it did.
Yeah, but why don't you think it has? Because most people, they try to stick around and they just can't do
Uh,
anything. Why do people care what you're doing or building?
I don't
or,
know, man, because I think I'm dependable, reliable. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm on time. And there's other people who have a track record of. Oh, that sounds shitty.
No, say it.
There's other people who don't come through with the job they've been hired to do.
Yeah. What do you look for, like when you've sponsored a lot of riders and well, I mean, like worked with a lot of riders and in the capacity where you were technically their boss, what sort of traits have made people desirable?
Well, any given time, like it's just obviously Etnies has been the longest.
Mhm.
When contests are the most prevalent thing, like they want contest dude.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a relationship with Jamie Bestwick. Hey, Jamie, you want to ride for Etnies? Like, so I get that dude. I have that relationship with him where it works out. Or Morgan but when it comes to, like, for me, Etnies has always been a lot more like street and core and whatever you want to call it. First and foremost, I look for somebody who's marketable. Bike riding is kind of not secondary, but there's a lot of good bike riders out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I look at people that kids would look up to and want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look like, because there's a ton of good riders, but they can't sell product.
There's not a lot of them that can.
There's
not a lot of guys.
There's
really
a lot of top guys, and I'm not going to mention any names, but and this is
Well, it's not aspirational for something.
It's a touchy subject because there's riders that we all love that
are better than other dudes.
better than everybody,
And you're just like, but no one wants to be you.
Nobody wants to buy your product, and then you've got these other like Dugan or somebody, and everyone will buy his shit.
Yeah.
Even though he's only got 2 tricks.
But Dugan's selling something else.
Yeah, he's
You know,
his personality.
I'm not trying to cut Dugan short on skill, but like just Dugan does something in a way that makes it look fun.
Mhm.
And he's at a level high enough, a pro level high enough that he doesn't need to do those other things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the hardest part. I think that in general, that exactly what you said, people get mad because there's so many good dudes now.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of these contest guys, like the park guys now, are a lot of fit into that category.
Mhm.
Like there's some of these guys that are in the parks or Olympics, and they're the best dudes that have ever touched a bike. And if those contests didn't exist, no one would ever care about them because no kid wants to be them.
Yeah.
It's something.
And those dudes wonder why they're not getting like paychecks. It's not aspirational for a kid to want to be any of those dudes.
Because they all look the same. There's nothing to reach out to. They're just an oil slick flipping by.
Yeah, I mean, and that's for the people. I feel like the people that are like people that like take that a weird way. That's kind of life,
Yeah.
Like in the sense of marketing.
For sure.
If you do an ad and it's not visually appealing, then it's not a good ad. That's the whole point. And you're advertising as a rider. You're advertising a brand that's attached to you by namesake or by the product you're riding, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes that's hard for people to understand. If Dave Mirra wasn't a good looking fucking dude, he wouldn't have been a billboard for every product in the world either. You know, X Games wouldn't have latched onto him and swung from his nuts like they did. Totally. You know, like if he was just ugly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the fastest, ugliest car isn't the one that's most bought. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's true.
So what about from a work ethic standpoint and somebody that you work with, you know, on a day to day as a rider, you know, like what sort of,
those are show riders.
Well, you know, like I'm saying, like, you know, you have people that are probably difficult or probably that are amenable or.
There's riders who they understand their place and they know that they can push limits of how productive they are or what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's other guys who are more hungry, who have a better work ethic, but it's hard to keep that up, you know, like, but again, we're in a different age
Era.
and time. Like for Jamie, like I didn't need to worry about him for content or anything like that. Like just go win a contest.
Mm-hmm.
Or same for Morgan or whatever. But like someone like Nathan or Chase or somebody, they have to, you know, produce at some point. Like, I mean, there was definitely more people who were more difficult to work with than others, but for the most part, I've been pretty fortunate with dealing with good people.
Mm-hmm.
And that was largely on me because I didn't want to deal with difficult people.
Yeah. Yeah. What, I mean, I don't know. I guess we kind of talked about it a little bit, but like the Morgan thing, I felt like Morgan.
What happened with Morgan? I must have missed this.
Well, I just meant like I know Morgan didn't take it well when he was off Etnies. Like he was confused by it.
A lot of people are,
you know,
but it's not their decision.
Yeah.
A lot of people get bummed when the check goes away, but it's not their decision whether they're marketable or as valuable as they think they are. It's the kids.
Yeah.
The kids are the people who are determining, or the customer. Those people are the ones determining whether that person is valuable or not.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm fucking the most valuable person in the world. But you like,
yeah.
And I've had a few riders like that. They think they're way more valuable than they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like they've had opportunities to have product, and the product did shit.
Yeah.
And
that's a reflection,
and that's pretty telling.
Yeah. There was a quote that you have told me that you've said to riders when they get on the team. Mm-hmm. Do you know what that quote is off the top of your head?
Somewhere along the lines of, hey, today is a good day, but it'll end at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much how it is. Like,
I always remember you telling me that, or something to that effect. And it always stuck with me because it's
not hard to understand either. Like,
because no matter who you are or whatever industry you're in, like it will end at, especially in something like this, where it's not like, this isn't a lifelong kind of like, I mean, I guess you can ride.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's being a relatively short career.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to have the understanding that it will end eventually.
Yeah.
So you can't be mad.
Yeah.
Well, you just,
I mean,
but
I think
I understand why people.
They can, they can. But I think that's a setting that tone, you know, and like being like, hey, you know, like I'm bringing you on. Welcome to the family. What's that?
You know, it's like the sands of time.
Oh, sands of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But how fast that goes will be up to you.
Exactly.
It doesn't stop the people when it does end. Doesn't stop some of them still being really bummed.
Yeah, yeah.
They still don't. They don't understand why, because they feel like they're still doing their thing.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't stop other people from continuing to do what they love and keep pushing forward, and so in different ways. And so you can kind of see the difference in that and how people react to certain things, and you know, those you know, as we see like negative Instagram posts and stuff like that.
Sometimes that stuff can be, you know, if I think like if you, whoever rider you are, if you're that rider and you feel like you still have gas in the tank, then you can use that as motivation.
Yeah.
And keep going if you want.
I don't think,
you don't got to be mad at everybody.
Well, I think, I mean, like in the sense of thinking of you, Nathan, like I felt like when you were off a Monster, I felt like I was like, oh, he shouldn't have been off, you know? And I do work with Monster, and I caught a little flack of like saying some stuff on like the Feeble Talk we did back in the day. And it was like, and they were like, no, Nathan didn't mind. Like he was like, yeah, he was like kind of not really feeling it anyways, essentially.
I mean, obviously, like losing a check sucks.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what. But yeah, I mean,
but their ethos didn't really align with yours.
No,
that's what I was, kind of getting at. It was like, it's like
just the longer I was on, I think I started.
It's funny.
I was just not the right fit. I don't.
And
it's okay.
It's funny because there's been a lot of riders from some of the big
Salty. Now we have Salty, which aligns.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's been a lot of riders that have lost some of those big drink sponsors, and they're like, oh, man, it's a relief because there's now less pressure on them. And
Sergio said the same thing.
Hucker,
really?
Yeah.
Hucker said the same thing. Like,
Hucker,
yeah. But I mean,
I think one of the biggest tells if you get let off a company, or let off a brand, is that if you don't get picked up by someone else, it's a tell that they've made the right choice, either because of what you're doing or what the industry can support.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, if you're getting off something, someone picks you up the next day, then maybe that brand made a mistake and you just didn't align right.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like you've ran your stories. We're in the last chapter.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming to an end.
Yeah.
And we're just happen to be in a sport where you don't get to choose that half the time.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard too for people, like, obviously you could build an identity around something.
Totally.
And I think everyone does to a degree, some more than others. And I think that's probably what's hardest on people.
Mm-hmm.
Is it's like you kind of feel like you're losing probably a
portion of yourself.
part of yourself. Yeah.
I mean, I've said that before. There's always like, for a long time, it was like, if I'm not Mike the bike rider, then who am I? I've been that since before I was at high school.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you have something else to move into, or you found another interest, or if you've just, your soul's okay with it, I've done that, and then it's okay. But a lot of people, the track ends before they're done pedaling,
Mm-hmm.
So
But back to the this is a good thing now, but it will end. And I look at this a little bit differently, and so to hear Morgan was upset, I get it. But it's funny to me that when something ends for somebody and like they're upset about it, they'll immediately jump to another brand that is never going to do anything for them.
Mm-hmm.
Although the brand that they've just been let go from has allowed them to buy a house, lived a life, travel the world, like giving them pretty much like
and give them a life.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, and I get it. Like I get people get bummed, but now you're going to go out and get free stuff and rep the brand for free just to spite the previous brand that gave you everything.
Yeah. Understandable.
And I mean, like Tony Hamlin, I had that conversation with him. He's like, fuck yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't think about it. Yeah. They're like, oh, I'm not repping this, so I'm just going to rep this because I think I'm supposed to rep stuff. Yeah. I don't know what to do.
There's definitely situations where
you also got to pay bills. Everyone's getting older.
Yeah. But he's saying for free. He's saying like,
for free.
They're just like,
so if you got a deal lined up, that's awesome. Yeah. Like I'm stoked. Like when Ends and Edwin went to Low Tech, like back in the day, like everyone thinks.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was still team manager for that.
No.
Was that not in the late 90s?
No.
Edwin?
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I dealt with that.
Oh, maybe it's because I talked to Ends so much about it.
Yeah. Edwin was like 2008, 2009 was Low Tech.
We're gonna do this new thing with Rich Hirsch, and I'm like, dude, fucking awesome, man. Like, I'm stoked for you. Like, people think I would be bummed. I'm like, no, man, I want my friends to do good.
Do good.
Yeah.
Which is just another testament to your character.
Yeah, but like, just recently, DeMarcus, like he finally got on Etnies and we started paying him, and then barely a year in, he's like, hey man, I got this opportunity with Adidas at 510, and I'm like, dude, stoked, man. Take advantage of it. It doesn't last forever. Just milk as much as you can.
Yeah.
Like, and like it was good. It's changed his life.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
I think what people like someone like you who's been around for so long and seen so many guys come in. I mean, how many guys have we come through that's been like, this is the new guy, and then he's gone in a year?
Oh yeah.
The guy you're like, oh, this guy's whatever, and he's here for 15 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you realize how short and how fast it can go. So be where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it. Like even if you've done a ton for him, like, all right, well, appreciate it, but as long as you're not burning anybody, like whoever it was who brought Castillo had a frame coming out, all molds done, frames on the way, and the dude quit.
Yeah.
Steve Churchill maybe.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's gnarly. you know, but like for this, you're like, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
Yeah.
Go do it because
it doesn't last forever.
yeah, because who knows what's going to happen next month.
Yep. No,
So
I'm happy for everybody. Like I don't want to hold anybody back. You know, I just want them to do their thing.
what is it compared now that you like I said, I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, you've been in the bicycle industry for 5 different decades, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s.
Yeah, I started riding in 1979.
Yeah. So, so yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, right.
So my question is what do you think of the overall state of the industry based on like technology and things where, you know, kids will never have a cover of a magazine and the way that you have to, what kids have to do or to stay relevant, to be Instagram every day. Is that something you think is it good for the industry or bad for the industry? I mean, does it feel like it's does it feel like the industry's dying? Like, cause I know some people goes, your bikes doesn't have there's no media.
Yeah.
You know, you have a couple websites and Instagrams, like, cause that's all they see, you know, where, you know, you look at other sports and you can go to the magazine stand. There's 8 different magazines where it feels like there's an industry.
I'll let you know those magazines are struggling.
Well, I know, but they all are, you know what I mean? But at the same time,
shark circling them.
At the same time, you know, I know a lot of people feel like there's no industry with bike riding.
It's weird because I feel like there's more participants. I wouldn't say than ever, but it seems like there's a lot of bike riders, right?
Yeah.
But from an industry standpoint, it feels like it's at a low point. Most riders become their own media outlet, like they're their own brand now, just because of social media and the lack of outlets, whether it be magazines or, you know, websites or whatever, because it seems so disposable these days. I just feel like riders are their brands. They are the advertiser. They are but it's a little frustrating to see some of the brands that they ride for lean on them so much to rep the brand. Like they kind of like the brands is taking a back seat to make sure the rider does most
all
of
the
it.
work.
Like the brands are leaning on the riders.
Yeah. Like I just that frustrates me a little. Like because I feel like, you know, if you do enough with your rider, you become synonymous with that rider, and the rider becomes synonymous with, like Ruben back in the day, he rode for Fox, but you would never know. Everyone thought he rode for Etnies apparel because he fucking rode Etnies all the time, and he was always pushing that, and the brand was doing so much with him, whether it be videos or ads or shoes or whatever. But now these brands are leaning on, like, their marketing dollars are kind of dwindling, and they lean on the rider to promote it, and they get mad when the rider's not pushing the brand out there enough.
Is there a reason to, you're exactly the point I wanted to get to. Is there a reason to even have a bike sponsor? Meaning, like, why couldn't Nathan, who'd you ride for? Kink? Just joking. Like, why couldn't, like, Nathan, let's say he didn't ride for Kink, right?
Yeah.
But he just wasn't going to ride for anybody, but he was still friends with Zach. Yeah. And he's like, hey, I'll actually buy these bikes off you. This is Kink frames. We won't have Kink's names, and I'll name them the Nathan Williams brand. And I'll just push those because I know I'm only going to sell 100 frames this year. I might as well buy it from you at a deal, and I'll get the entire $100 and something instead of, you know, the $8 a bike or whatever they get nowadays, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that could happen because riders are doing all the work.
Yeah. If there was that makes sense. If there was
I would say, obviously I would say there's exceptions to it. Like Kink still does a shitload and stuff like that. But
I mean, I just use him because he's in the room, but there's a lot of riders.
I know. Yeah.
Can't
well, there's that's what like Panza does. Like Panza has his big following. He literally has a warehouse full of bikes. He does sell the bikes.
Oh, see, that's
wow.
good.
You know, like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he literally sells his own bikes and stuff like that. Like, and he's a dealer for Colt. And it's
that's
like
awesome.
that's an avenue for people, and it is. I mean,
do you
it's
see
funny
that happening more?
I mean, you have to have a big following, and you have to be that guy that has a camera and telling people that, you know, and the call to action stuff and all that of like, hey, we got a discount code and all that stuff is like, dude, that's a fucking fucking struggle. I'm not that guy either. I could be that guy. I'm not that guy.
Yeah, but you also
think it's
don't
corny
have to have miniature the risk either.
What's that?
Right, you wouldn't have like
the brand doesn't have the risk anymore.
Well, the brand has a risk because they have to buy everything, right? But the rider doesn't have the risk. He could, if he partnered with another brand, say, hey, I'll buy 20 of those frames and I'm going to restick
Well,
them.
you know what the reality is now is the promo code. You know, there's some of that stuff going around where it's like you have the promo code and it's like, and you have this, you know, this attachment to it, kind of like what I mentioned early on is that, you know, it's got Rooftop, you know, 15% or something like that. And that's the discount code and that's your allegiance. I mean, you do that shit. I mean, I shot a fucking jacket. I shot a photo of you wearing a dumb yellow jacket on a mountaintop and you just got $1,000 for it or something.
No, I just got the jacket.
No, you said you got $1,000 for it.
I don't think that's right.
A fucking liar.
I'd like to get, it's a nice photo though.
I'll pull the fucking photo up right now.
I know the photo's really nice. That jacket's really good.
I remember Etnies talking about them doing like affiliate links.
Yeah,
you know,
affiliate links and all that stuff. And it's like as a
but I'm talking about being your own brand.
Yeah.
Since the athletes are doing everything, they can just be their own brand, working with a company. They're already
that's what I'm saying is that like Levi's doesn't have a fucking team anymore. They got an affiliate link. They got a promo code. They're hooking up one dude and they're hooking up these spots and dots over here and over there. And they're not doing the Levi's video anymore. They're still selling Levi's. They're selling Levi's to BMXers and doing little micro marketing things, but they're not giving anything back.
Yeah.
I mean, besides the revenue from sold jeans to the riders.
From a company's perspective, I would imagine it's way less. I mean, you're not having to put money in. You're not paying someone monthly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that's what like the brands aren't putting in the work.
That's why I'm wondering when does it switch to just riders doing everything.
But then
you don't
get the support from the company.
But they're not doing it now. A lot of brands aren't doing it now. Or a rider like some of these contest guys who were the best in the world, but no one wants to sponsor them.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You know what I mean? They know
contest dudes.
And maybe they're not going to sell 30 bikes or 100 bikes to you, but they might sell 30. And if they're making $150, $200 a bike, that's a little bit. That's probably more than they're going to make anyways.
Yeah,
I could see that working for specific people.
Yeah, because they're doing and that.
Well, it's always been. It's always. I feel like in BMX, it's always been. There's endemic brands that are owned by bike riders and stuff like that, and then the influx of a lot of dollars comes in from the Gatorades and the Levi's and the fucking Boost Mobile shit or some sort of stuff like that. And then when they really jump in and they're sponsoring these riders, and then you got the Gatorade Free Flow Tour because they have this huge budget, and then you have the Levi's team with the Levi's BMX video and all this stuff, and they're sponsoring not only pros, but the pros are choosing 2 AMs and they're bringing up these other guys, and it's this influx of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and now that is like has been like chopped and diced up, and it's just going out like kind of whimsical. And it's like you see an Instagram post where somebody's like, oh, check out my new Dockers or my new Levi's or something like that, and it's like, yeah, you like them? Get a promo code, and that's like it's like micro marketing, like, but it doesn't bring anything valuable into the industry, and that's the scary shit to me. I feel like BMX rider owned brands are always going to love BMX, and they're always going to have a team, and they're going to do what they need to do. There may be some element of that, but they're still going to like invest in the sport that they love. And when it's like, when you allow all these brands to come in and like, just like take, but not give anything back,
do you think
it really struggles.
Do you think the whole promo code and like affiliate, all that stuff, like, do you think it's just a way for the brands to gauge whether this person is valuable or not?
I mean that was that was what Etnies
like it's a way to just go, oh well, yeah, this guy's more important than this guy, and whatever,
And it goes back to not bike riding. It goes back to selling, and that's like because some people are good at marketing, some people are good at fucking feeble grinds, and that's kind of the, I mean, it's the same shit from my end too, where you got all these brands doing Google and Facebook ads. They ever thrown a fucking BMX stage in? Like Google hasn't, I don't think, and it's hard to a point. And I understand you get that, like that reward of seeing all the, like the numbers and like, oh, I drove this many people to the site that I don't offer and stuff like that. But, like at a point, it hurts everybody, like, and not get all righteous, but like,
no, I get it.
Like it's definitely weird. It's always fucking moving. It's always moving. If whatever we say right now, in 2 years, 2025, going to be different.
Yeah.
And that's the way it goes. Like anything we said in 2020 ain't the same anymore.
For
you
sure.
know, like it wouldn't be. There was no type thing like it, but there is some of that. There is some of the stuff like literally pans up stock spikes.
That's awesome.
And there could be elements of that, like if Dennis's channel blows up.
Well, to me,
more,
Dennis would
it's
just
like,
be his own brand.
He
Because
is his
he's
own
doing all the
brand.
work.
Yeah,
That's
he
what
is.
I'm saying.
Yeah, he is
That's
his
what
own
I was
brand in a
saying.
lot of ways, but he also does have support from Haro and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's like, but that's like,
Some of these guys don't have any support. Though.
yeah, and they don't. And that's like the way, you know, it's like the magazine and stuff like that. It's like, it made it a lot easier for dudes to create their own brand and rise without some guy choosing him from the heavens, you know, and that's like where the magazine was, but it also like kind of split up the pie in my opinion, you know, where it's like there's very few heroes.
There's no heroes
in BMX where it's like
not before.
Yeah, so it's
you got to look at it like a
good and bad to both sides, you know, like sick fucking dudes made their entire career. Jaron Barboza's doing collab shit with Range Rover, all his own,
Porsche.
and Porsche, all his own. He fucking did that.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Right.
Nothing to do with any outside media stuff or whatever. Like he did that. And it's like, that's a definitive good,
sure.
you know, like, but at the same time, there's not good parts of it as well. So it's
feels like without,
I just talked for a really long time.
I feel like without the magazines and that sort of push, like before it was easier to have heroes.
Yeah.
You know, and because it was like every month you got an issue and it was like an episode of television.
Yeah. The modern day cover is an Instagram repost.
Yeah.
Sick. Congratulations.
Well, but it's also like, I mean, what do you think?
That's where we're at.
Povah might have something to say about this because you obviously let's talk fudge your talk for a second.
Yeah, so I'll shut up.
No, but the problem with what?
Fuck it.
Yeah, buddy.
The problem with some of the everything being online.
It's 5:30 somewhere.
Yeah. The problem with everything being online is that let's say you guys get a DAC video, right?
Well, 3:30. That's good enough.
Ready? Let's say you guys get a DAC video that Monster puts a ton of money into, right? Or an Nathan video. You guess there's no one's paying attention.
What were you saying?
It goes up online on ourbmx. And I don't know if this is how it is now, but it seemed like it goes up at 1 o'clock. But by 2 o'clock, Johnny's backyard throwaway evening edit has gone up and pushed it down. Or it's on the same level as the DAC one, which then devalues it even for Monster.
Yeah.
Monster says, why are we paying for this if, you know, Johnny's, GoPro dark throwaway sketchy, mag edit is going up right next to it. Like, how do you as a media company or BMX, how do we stop that to give Monster a reason to be putting money into it? If we're going to put everyone on the top of the pedestal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think one, we don't really post all that much on the website anymore. It's like, we've definitely slipped on that a little bit. Like me as like a well-rounded media company isn't as like good as it used to be. I would like to get back to that sort of stuff and have people on board to elevate certain pieces of content more. But I think we do a somewhat of a decent job. If it's something that we're actually hosting, obviously it's like, it's got some legs before and afterwards via social stuff and, you know, elevating stuff with the podcast, like Dak talking about his video part with Vans for fucking 3 hours, you know, or Gary or something. Those get fucking 80,000 views.
It's awesome.
And it's like,
which should tell you how much kids need it.
It's crazy. Yeah. And it's like, it's awesome in that sense that like we can dive into that stuff and really like, you know, create something from that. And then, you know, the podcast helps with that as well. Like we try and coordinate things, but yeah, I mean, it's just not the same. There's nobody, you know, this is my one video for the next 3 months and I'm going to watch it 60,000 times. You know, it just doesn't, you know, I remember what's happening at, I know the song name. I know what he's doing at this beat drop, you know, like the Ruben thing, or it's like you can hear Ruben's song as he's going in. You don't hear that anymore.
So way more disposable time. Like everyone,
you
know, their attention spans are Instagram length long. You know,
yeah.
As a team manager, does it feel by default that the riders are more disposable?
Ooh,
I never thought about it, but yeah. But I'm not team manager anymore. So.
Yeah, but you were team manager in a time when this took place. So
yeah. Oh, it was
You're saying because everything else is so disposable.
Everything's moving
that
so
it
fast.
feels like,
yeah.
If I go
It's
back
easier to get rid of people. It's easier to have, okay, well, the next one's coming.
yeah.
So
from the like just looking at the Schwinn days to the early Etnies days, like talking about heroes in the sport, you need those heroes. Like sometimes it was based on, you know, advertising with a magazine or whatever, is like pay to play. But like if I go back to the 80s, man, there was like a handful of dudes that were always
Sorry, that was me. I thought Nathan was looking. So
you know, there's a handful of dudes that are just always there, but you need those heroes for other kids to aspire to be. Now, like I felt like a lot of the media is just the next new dude, the next, you know.
There definitely was a time when you'd open the magazine, you knew who everyone was.
Yeah.
And there'd be a new dude every here and there. And then at some point, I remember opening the magazine. This was when I was still in it. And I was like, I don't know who anyone is.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's cool. Everyone's getting a shot. To, you know.
I think we've discussed
Yeah, everyone's getting a shot. But at the same time, you've destroyed BMX at the same time.
Yeah.
You've destroyed like having kids have someone to root for. Like every time they open it, there's nothing to follow. Like there's no way.
Like
I'm in the room. Rooftop.
Yeah, well, you know, you need to hear it, buddy. You know, this guy told you it was going to be a tough podcast. Hammer's coming down.
At the door. Is Cannon bang at the door, or is that just?
Nope.
No. Okay, they're just banging the wall. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'll let Povah answer the question.
I have no answer.
You bullshit. No, I mean, well, I don't know if there's an answer. Maybe you do have no answer, but I do feel like there's been.
No, I answered it. Like, it does feel more disposable.
Yeah,
like as trying to form a team because there are, well, number one, there's a lot of good riders out there, but.
I think it's the brand's responsibility to make a hero out of somebody.
Agreed.
Like King,
as well as the magazines,
as
well as the media.
The media. Yeah, like I mean, like Kink with like Casey. You know, like I feel like they've done a good job of like showing his personality, highlighting him as a rider and who he is, and having like third party validation from the dudes who are already on the team. To like go like, dude, this cool. This guy's cool as fuck. Like, I've never really met him and I never really talked to him, but I like him. Yeah, you know, like
because it's like obviously Casey's doing his thing on Instagram and he's filming.
Yeah,
that's his part.
Yeah,
but then that's where it's like I think a lot of the brands are lacking, or I don't know.
Yeah, or the brands should. Yeah,
just where it's like, they're like Kink's putting in the effort to like push him as well as he's pushing the brand.
Exactly.
You know, it's a mutual thing.
Yeah. And I think that's an important thing that shouldn't be lost. I think there's a lot of brands do it right.
King does a good job.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of brands that do it right. Colt does it right. S&M Fit, like even with Cole and stuff like that. Like not S&M and Fit, but Fit with Cole, and they bringing in personality and elevating and telling, having other people be like this.
Well, that's what
like I was the guy or whatever. Like I'm still the guy. You like me. You should also like this guy right here. You know, like
we've come into a thing where everyone's trying so hard to tell everyone how rad they are.
Yeah.
And now it's, you know what I mean? Like on Instagram, I tell everybody how rad I am all the time. And they're forgetting that we don't have a magazine that comes out every month that tells people who's rad. So there's not a lot of like bike riding or bike riders aren't great at hyping other dudes up, even like creating any sort of hype where it's just like, it takes nothing more than like, it could just be a reaction of you to Dennis doing something. Like, holy shit, this video is going to be nuts. Yeah. And that's all it takes. Yeah. You know, but to whoever that guy is, you know, like there's not enough of that as a community anymore because it's now up to us, right? Or up to, not me, but up to the riders to be the magazine for everyone else. Not that you need to post everyone else, but just hype dudes up a little bit once in a while. Yeah. And a story doesn't take anything, you know?
And you know, there's brands like Scotty.
Some people are good at it.
The Scotty's channel, like he gives like third party validation to the shit that's like cool. And it's like, it's sick that somebody like Scotty is doing the same thing. Like that we would, you know, like it would be, it's harder for me to do it because I'm not as well spoken as Scotty, but not
media trained.
No, fuck no. Literally doing those X Games things, I would literally be like, I think like Jay, I was like, you're fucking media training, like get the fuck out of here, give me a real answer, you know, like
Nyquist.
Well, Nyquist is
so good.
Nyquist is hilarious. But there's a lot of that, you know, like, but there's no Ride BMX anymore. There's no Vital BMX. There's no fucking Ride UK really, like they would do cool shit, do cool full length videos. It's just not the same, and it's the same in every industry. Everybody's like,
I think like what you're talking about with the riders, like only they're pushing themselves.
Because and I understand.
It's like I think they feel that because they feel that it's almost like expected for brands that they ride for.
Yeah,
and it's like
it's not their fault. I'm just saying it's just how it is.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of analyzing it in my head. I'm like, yeah, why?
Yeah.
Why do?
I remember at a time someone was like, "Oh, we post this on your Instagram," and I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
And then I thought about it. I'm like, "That's what it's for."
Yeah.
To hype you and your friends up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like not everybody. You know what I mean? Like you pick your people.
Yeah.
You know, but you're like, that's
exactly.
like, and if we don't do it, like because it was easy to not do it before, because there was at least a magazine was around and there was someone sort of holding it together. Right. And now that holding it together is a little more relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Because having a magazine come to your house is like having an episode of television. It's like those people are in your home every month. They come to your house every month and tell you what they're doing. And as much as it might not seem like that, there's a reason why TV stars seem like a bigger deal than movie stars, because TV stars are in your home every week.
Every day. Yeah.
Every week or every night you're seeing them on a sitcom and they just seem like, I know them.
Yeah. You can't, you're not allowed to talk about TV though.
Oh, okay.
There's a strike right now.
Oh, that's right. I can't. Yeah.
Sorry. There's an actor strike. He can't talk about TV.
I can't talk about it.
He's in the SAG.
No, I just can't talk about anything specific.
No, don't.
But like, stupid.
Let's talk about Povah.
Yeah. Back to Povah. Well, I knew that we always have a lot of talks over the years about how the industry's going.
Yeah.
So I knew some of these things it's interesting for me, him being around for five, since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Basically.
5 centuries.
5 centuries. To see the industry go through so much, how he feels about riders, how he feels about how, like I said, how if they're disposable, and how he ultimately.
It's a hard answer. Yeah, that's a hard. I'm sure it was a hard answer for you to give. You know, like you're like, you don't want to say that, but that's.
Well, no, it's just the time we live in. Like it's just they are like these guys in the 80s and 90s. They were the pinnacle of the sport, and you, like he's saying, you look at a magazine and these are your heroes, and they're aspirational. And now there's so much that has been so diluted that people are giving away content free. And it just seems like a little less valuable than it did.
Bit of a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the same with brands. Like it's a whole other conversation, but I feel the same with brands. Like, you know, kids want fucking shit for free. Well, if you want shit for free or for cheap, then Kink can afford to do trips and videos. And stuff. Like it's like
it's a very common party line. Like, your friend got a company, fucking buy something from him.
Yeah.
Like don't ask for anything for free. Buy it. You know, like
the shit's still too cheap.
Yeah, it's too cheap and it lasts forever.
Nathan?
Shit's too cheap.
Thank you, Fudger.
I did this thing last night where just for the hell of it, I was like, and I kind of done it before, but I looked at how much a frame and forks were back in the 80s.
God, yeah.
1986, a Haro Sport frame and forks was $250.
Frame and fork.
Frame and fork, yeah. Granted, it's frame and fork.
Yeah.
But that's $700 today.
Mm-hmm.
$700.
It's $700 for a frame and fork?
No, what? The equivalent. Like
$250
in 1986 is just under $700 today. Now frames are how much?
They've actually gone up a lot,
400,
but not in a good, not the margin. The margin hasn't gone up.
Like the mountain bike world, you look at a mountain bike dirt jump frame, which is equivalent, like is a big BMX frame. They're $1,000, $1,200
for the frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But BMX frames are still $100.
Why do you think that is?
Because everyone is expecting.
You're
free
holy shit.
But
yeah, you're right.
Like, do you think if all the main companies in the BMX industry as a whole got together and said, okay, we're gonna up our prices to $600 a frame,
but they won't because the other company will do it.
Because
there's always going to be another company that's going to stick.
Like I've told Chris this. I think a lot of people feel the same way. But if Chris does it, S&M, other people will follow suit. I feel like he's the standard. Like he's the benchmark of where pricing should be, but it's still too low.
Yeah.
Like I had a mountain bike, and the bearings went bad in the wheels, and it was $100 for a set of bearings. I got profile bearings for $25.
Yeah.
Like it's a different market, but like you can charge more. Kids just need to understand they need to pay more, especially when they're riding a bike that has a lifetime guarantee that they're jumping off roofs with.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think from someone that's buying the bikes, like obviously you don't want prices to increase, but then when you hear like, oh, like the BMX company's making like $50 on a frame
nothing.
or something,
It's
like,
nothing.
and that's got to trickle down to like
Or-
employees and riders and everything.
Or
Like,
don't
that's-
complain that your rider gets dropped and there's no trips if you're
Yeah.
not willing to
Yeah.
pay for the product.
Yeah.
Because that's what pays for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, right now there's so many options that makes it hard. Like it's much easier to sell a Nathan frame if there was only 10 frames to choose from in the industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's 200.
Yeah.
So there's just too many options. It can
A
be
lot of
cheap, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it kind of sucks to say, and I probably won't. Make
It
any
sucks to
friends-
say.
Won't make any friends, but like the direct to consumer aspect of it
I mean, yeah.
should raise their margins if they're
Agreed.
willing, if they
And-
do it, but they also have to not burn bridges with
Shops.
like no, not even shops, with fucking online mail orders.
Yeah.
The online mail orders are the new IBDs because they're the next in line. Because if every brand goes direct to consumer, then brands like Source and Dance Comp are struggling too. You know, like IBDs are like,
There's got to be a better way to do it though, because then at that point, if everything's direct to consumer, there's no like community
no
type
hub
feel, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long
I
battle.
mean, there's no
long
good answer,
battle.
but
yeah.
you know, I just think
I think if you love this shit, then you should be conscious of where you spend your money. I think that's
you can buy a top of the line,
yeah.
a top of the line bike for $1,200, $1,500.
Yeah.
That's not even a pair of forks in the mountain bike world.
yeah.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
You know, you're
I mean,
spending $2,000 on a pair of forks.
Yeah.
In the mountain,
Yeah,
I heard Billy say he's like, I spent $5,000 on a mountain bike.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah.
that's on the cheap
and,
end.
and that's not
Yeah.
even the top.
No, that's
Yeah,
cheap.
it's probably like an
That's-
E1.
that's
I don't know.
cheap.
Well, I don't know
Yeah, there's
anything
a lot
about
going
mountain
on.
bikes,
that was like secondhand too.
Yeah.
That you could not, they got it on the top tube. How many times you can
He's
jump it.
fucking. He's got 2 cars he could sell to add up to $4,000.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, everyone will say that it's a different consumer. They got more money. Nah, not necessarily. Like if you really want something and you love it so much, you'll pay for it.
Yeah.
Like
It'd be cool to see brands come together. You know,
Well,
like I think we tried at Interbike one year and it was a shit show.
yeah.
You know, like so.
Crandall tried to do it one time with bottom
Crandall tried. I
bottom
remember
brackets.
that was a great bottom bracket
it was-
debate
it
of
was a
fucking
shit-
2008.
Let's get all the brands together.
Right.
All the brands
Dude, we-
together.
We did it.
Well, they can all
so
fit
hold
together.
on. I'll
Try to
throw,
agree on
I'm gonna
some
throw.
stuff
I'm gonna
here.
throw Moeller under the bus on this one because he would pull no punches either. But we had a lot heads of brands, like 15 of them in a room. Moeller didn't show up and sit Magoo to derail the entire conversation.
Yeah.
Well, he's not the right guy.
I literally at a point I was like, I got tight and I said something to Magoo and he just fucking tried to, I think he probably did tear me to pieces.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was,
He's a hard dude to argue
interesting.
with.
And it was before I was the boss. It wasn't me. I think it was Mulligan was the boss back then, but I was just like,
Yeah.
hey Magoo, stop talking. Like literally, like he was just not having it.
I just don't know.
But it just, that was one time we tried and we were like, all right,
It's tough because like if brand A is doing something for X amount of dollars, brand B is going to do it for less to undercut brand A.
That's the work. That's
And,
how it works.
I personally think that everyone should raise their prices, create more of a supply than a demand. Don't saturate the market because now if you want to make money, it's due to quantity.
Yeah.
You got to push so much, but at some point everybody's got a complete bike. Like you got to slow it down.
Yeah.
And if that means increasing pricing, so a kid keeps a bike a little bit longer, and there's less product out there, and which means less overhead, less employees, but greater margins to do more to create more demand. I think that's a little healthier of a
It
healthier.
just
of a-
creates more opportunity for everybody
Yeah.
throughout the whole
I mean, that's
industry.
a-
Unless you're
even
in sales.
riders coming
I'm
up.
simplifying
Unless you're in
it.
sales.
Yeah, but I'm simplifying it, but it's like,
Yeah.
I think creating more of a demand than a supply is,
Yeah, I mean that's why that term exists.
yeah. I mean, like brands like just say T1, like they have so few drops, but there's always people coming back for more.
Yeah.
And they charge more of a premium.
And even for like, the consumers that might think, oh, well, I don't want to pay more money for that. Like in the end, it will create more opportunities even for that consumer.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
say they keep riding and they go up in, whatever company, like they're going to have more opportunity because of that.
Yeah.
It's a hard call to make, but it's got to be made.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
like I went to some business seminar one time and it was like any real brand for every dollar spent should make $10. BMX is lucky if they're making $3.
Crazy.
Yeah, the margin's terrible.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
We're getting in. We're 3 hours in.
No way.
Yeah, we are actually.
Let's
yeah.
go
Let's
to
talk about
4.
Yeah. Oh yeah, let's talk about the Ruben wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Malibu, the
Don't
one.
make me talk about this.
Malibu. Oh,
What?
Motherfucker.
Go ahead.
Your foot popped off too.
Yeah, mine didn't touch the ground.
He didn't touch it.
Wait, what?
He didn't touch it.
Put it on. I will retract anything I've ever said.
Ruben's definitely
No.
touched the ground.
Yeah, it does. He put his foot on the ground. His shin drug on the ground. To me, this is one of the gnarliest things ever done.
It's grounded, right?
Yeah, I don't know which one is it. Grounded. It's one of the gnarliest things ever done and saddest ways to end a video. And I love Ruben.
Oh yeah.
Everything he does is so gnarly.
That's me sat on the ground right there taking photos.
Sick
What was
break.
it like watching that stuff,
Pretty rad.
dude?
You know, at some
This is so.
So let's watch it first, and we'll talk about it.
This is so heavy.
Warm.
I love how our kids are just playing in the other room right now. It's pretty awesome.
I like that. That's his warm up.
That was
Yeah.
equally just as insane.
Well, that'd be an ender to a video now.
Hmm.
Look at that road.
I bet it had to have
Yeah.
been so stressful trying to time that.
Well, there's multiple times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Dude, it's so heavy that drop.
The
in.
lady walking her bike up too.
Go. I mean, it touched.
I
We all
mean,
know it
yeah,
touched. It's
Whatever.
okay.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, we all, as BMX as a whole, we all determined that it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because it was Ruben. If it was someone else, it
The
wouldn't be.
find that the lady walking up on the bike was completely
Oh, yeah.
by,
I guess.
by accident.
Yeah, that made it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
she
like-
wasn't a paid actor?
Yeah.
No. But
So
like, you
it's
know,
that
every-
Oh,
photo's
you can
so
see her
good.
in the photo.
Yeah, she's walking up right there, and then that's Jeff Z's wife holding
Yeah.
the second angle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like each time that you did it, we were like making sure no one was going up the bridge, and for some reason we just didn't check that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it kind of made the clip.
Yeah. Even better.
But
So,
so earlier that day, so this whole clip took 3 years. He came from Spain multiple times to get this done, and it was either raining, there was a gate that was closed, or there was cars in the way. Leading up to this one, we showed up there one day, and there was a car in the way, but it was for sale. So I called the dude to test drive the car so he would move it. And he moved it for us.
I've never
Yeah,
heard
yeah,
this
yeah.
part of it.
So
That's
that-
amazing.
And then Ruben did it. He hung, destroyed his sprocket and his wheel.
He hung on the railing?
No, he hung on the landing thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Has that footage?
Top of the landing.
Has,
Yeah,
has
yeah,
that
yeah.
footage ever been anywhere?
Maybe, I don't know.
He hung up on the.
Yeah.
I had no
he-
idea.
he-
I thought it was one and done.
He destroyed his. Well, he
Dude, how'd he survive?
he didn't. He nose wheeled down the thing into PCH. Yeah. And
So that was one attempt, like one sequence.
one, yeah.
Okay, so he couldn't try it again that time.
No, so that he ate shit, was kind of semi okay, and put my wheel and my sprocket on. But I ran a 30, like a heavy gearing at the time, like
Yeah.
39 or something.
Yeah.
And he put it on and went faster, and he did it. So
So that's with your sprocket.
yeah, my wheel and my sprocket.
You still have that?
No,
You just want it. Yeah, like this one
I-
did it.
I-
Yeah.
Sprocket.
Yeah. That'd be sick.
I had that frame as well.
That's what I want. I need to.
I had that frame.
I'm horrible at asking the guests. I'm like, hey, bring something for the wall. Yeah, I've been really
Yeah.
bad lately. So
But I had
But-
that. I had that frame as well, and I sold it.
damn.
Wow.
Wow.
But it was the traffic light situation was crazy because like there's a road that comes down onto PCH, and you had to wait for that to go yellow, and as soon as it went yellow, that's when he starts pedaling because he has to beat the traffic when it goes green on PCH. Like if you see him land or on the video when he pops out and you see cars coming,
Yeah.
that's when the light turned green. Like he had to do it. So if he ate shit, which he did, like there's cars stopping on PCH watching this dude like
It's really busy.
pick himself up.
God, imagine just driving along.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So crazy.
Not knowing anything about action sports,
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
Just seeing
This dude
the stuff
dropping out of the sky.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because we set the landing up, the wedge.
It's so steep.
Yeah, it's super
Mhm.
steep. But the thing was, cops went by all the time, and we were blown away that no one was stopping. But when you're driving, you're looking at the side of it, so you don't see the full
full face.
Yeah.
Was that? It wasn't into the street, though,
No,
was
no.
it? It
They
was
probably thought it was going to be, but that's why it's so
No.
steep. They probably thought they made it long enough to go into the street.
Yeah, it's on the edge of the curb there.
And then so being the antagonist I am, so the foot drag.
Yeah.
What was the conversation?
It wasn't a conversation.
Just done.
It's so gnarly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
gnarly. I mean, I understand it.
Yeah.
I come from a different world of hardcore.
It's-
So what?
one of those
Okay, hold
things,
on.
too, though, that like
Yeah.
by putting the foot down, it doesn't he didn't make it any easier. You know
No,
what
it
I mean?
didn't
You know what I
save
mean?
him.
It didn't
save him. It was just a
It wasn't-
technicality.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he put it down and held him up.
Yeah.
You know?
It wasn't like he grinded a swing set.
Yeah, but it came off. It didn't go. It didn't touch down. I kept that shit up.
That one's right there. Did you see that one? I
Yeah.
can't believe he did it in a full jersey
Yeah,
with some helicopters in the background.
I mean, there's.
I'm gonna have to I have to put all these ones in here. So
I mean, what would you do, Nathan?
What would I do?
Because you're banger. You put a foot down. I just picked like the biggest, whatever it is, and you put your foot down on it.
don't look at me.
Oh, no, don't ask me that.
Yeah. Don't be a pussy. Answer the question.
Yeah, that's the question.
Povah had to answer some hard questions today.
Here's what I'd do. I'd probably try it again. I'd probably die.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably regret trying it again.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So
That's what I probably
the difference about this one is the scenario is so gnarly because it's not just him versus the trick, it's him versus the world.
Yeah.
And so I understand.
Yeah.
But like at the time I was like, put his foot down. Because at the time I was a lot stricter. I was like, fuck. You know,
He always felt jaded because he never.
Yeah.
Have you ever talked to Ruben about that? Sorry to interrupt.
I don't know. Me and Ruben are sweet.
It would.
Because he
I don't
never
know,
got
maybe.
a final part in
Yeah.
his video. He was jaded.
Oh God, you want to talk about that one?
No, I mean,
So that's the real reason
I
why.
can't
That's the
talk
real
about
reason.
it.
Oh yeah.
It's
Because of
already-
SAG. Because of SAG rules.
No,
Fucking
because it's
sad.
already been talked about in an interview that hasn't come out yet.
I know because of SAG.
From Perrick.
Yeah.
Okay. When you hear what Perrick says about it, it's pretty wild. I'll tell you afterwards.
No, yeah, he can't say it. He legitimately
Probably
wants
got
it. I know he
strong-
wants
probably
it.
got strong.
I know the answer.
Okay.
but
Yeah. But no, I mean, with Ruben, I'm like, I understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're like, I ain't doing that again. And like you said, it didn't change the trick. It didn't hold him up.
No.
Yeah.
It was simply
no,
a blow off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a blow off, like the same way with the swing set blew off because of the hard
Oh,
landing.
yeah.
You know, and it just, and if honestly, if it was into the street and not the sidewalk, his foot might not have touched because he wouldn't have the,
Yeah.
you know, because he's hitting that
Yeah.
curb, bonk, bonk.
Yeah.
I think it's always, I always say that like having a little bit of sketch on something like
Yeah.
really gnarly,
Yeah.
you're like,
You can add
I
to
am
it.
not fucking
Dude,
doing that
yeah.
again.
And
Like,
it is
I
true,
am,
like-
it's done.
Like with that, it almost does maybe add a little bit to it
Yeah.
because you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's not
That's
doing that
possible.
again.
Never.
It's just-
Yeah, it's
Never
not.
again.
It's one of the,
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's
So
one
what
of the it's one of the heaviest things done in a video on something that's like a classic simple trick.
Did
You know what I
anybody kind of like, because I feel like I mean, you know, going back, I guess I'm dragging it out, but in the same sense of like you said, the Ford stuff, like you're like, oh, I got flack for this and I got flack for that. You feel like if you did it and you put that board there, they'd be like, you put a fucking board there,
Oh,
or
I
whatever.
mean, Just because I built a rail,
or was
any
it,
of that
or is it
also-
too late? Like, is it years later and now it's acceptable?
It's acceptable now.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I got in trouble if I went snowboarding. People would write, there was stuff in the magazine, like Troy McMurray blasted me for snowboarding
Because
You know,
you're
and-
just on a different.
because I just wanted to go snowboarding. Like that was not acceptable.
You're not allowed to.
Not allowed to. But
No,
now you'd
yeah.
be pretty hard pressed to find any pro that didn't have another
Yeah.
interest that was, you know what I mean, that he wasn't
Yeah.
good at and taking the time. So
Yeah.
it was just a
That's
different
funny.
time.
It's a
It wasn't
different
allowed.
core to a
That
fault.
is-
It was just
Yeah.
a different time.
Core to a fault.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
It was just a
100%.
different
It was a
time.
different time.
Yeah.
Well, I you know, I feel like we touched on a whole bunch of your history. I feel like we kind of derailed to like industry 105 or
Yeah, but that was-
something like
I
that
planned
college
that anyways.
course.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine.
but
Yeah.
that dude, you know, I love you.
Love you
So,
guys too.
yeah.
It's awesome.
So-
I did want to read you something that will be a good ender for this
Perfect.
because I feel like all these things that people have written are how much everyone loves you. This one's from Taj.
Oh shit.
Mm.
Heavy.
Heavy. Some napkins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Team
yeah,
close
yeah,
tissue.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Let me take off my shorts.
All right,
That's all I
ready?
got.
John was like a dad that I never had.
Oh.
He called to check on me more than anyone in my life. He listened to whatever was going on and managed to sound like he genuinely cared because I suspect underneath that gruff exterior, he actually did.
Oh.
It was like he kept a window open looking into my life, and I always imagined he did that with everyone else on the team too. He somehow managed to juggle all our egos and internal struggles in a way that made us all love him. Largely thanks to John, I was given the chance to ride my bike how I wanted for many years. It was an amazing thing to be able able to take my riding wherever direction seemed right to me with so much support behind me. Thank you, John.
Oh,
That's huge.
Yeah,
That's
dude, I mean,
crazy.
that's how we all felt, man.
Thanks, dude.
I
Thank
can't
you,
say thank you. I
Taj.
can't say thank you enough for everything you've ever done for me. You know?
Thank you. You're welcome, Mike.
Same.
Praise this man.
So yeah,
Praise
A
this
lot
man.
of people in the
Thank
industry
you.
feel the exact
Dude,
same
thank
way.
you.
Thank you for doing that, man. That's
you.
that like grabbing words from
Oh, yeah,
those
yeah.
dudes and stuff like that.
Well,
So
John's-
I appreciate it.
you know, he's been around since, you know, forever. So, you know,
Since Will was invented.
literally could just ask anybody on my block who used to ride bikes. Oh yeah, Povah was my team manager.
All right. And on that note, we'll end it. Thank you for tuning to Unclicked. Nathan Williams, John Povah, Mike Escamilla. Thank you for watching. Dennis will be back next time. Oh, and me. Yeah.
And
Sorry.
you.
And Dales and Salty bastard.
Salty and
Nah.
salty.
Thank you. Peace. Yeah, the tape had been recording for 3:40.